blazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for
Hello and welcome, Smite fans, to week number 2 of the Smite Oceania Pro League. We got up first a pretty nice matchup for you. Legacy Esports taking on Daddy Daycare, two of the teams to make it out of the top end of the qualifiers, or at least the teams we expected to make it out of the top end. Legacy actually dropped down to the losers bracket, but Daddy Daycare had a strong qualifiers. Did drop a game last week, though, to Pretty Boys. Straight into picks and bans, though, with my co-caster Lynx Clone. We've got the first ban. It is going to be Kabrakan, and Sylvanas taken away by Daddy Daycare.
The Sylvanas ban, I am not at all too surprised about. Sylvanas, definitely one of the strongest Guardians in the meta. Strong healing, good sustain, as well as good CC. However, Kabrakan ban, I kind of question it. Maybe it could be something to take away from either Zac or Ogre, but other than that, it's more of a flex ban. I don't exactly see it. Thanatos, however, that is a very reasonable ban. Kind of similar case of Sylvanas. He has a lot of sustain and just really nice early team fight.
He's got a lot of self-sustain as well with that Death Scythe. Shield of Regrowth, acting with that as is just immense on Thanatos. That really makes him a top pick right now. Ratatosk get taken away by Daddy Daycare as well. So both teams kind of targeting out semi-global jungle presence as well as a lot of movement on the other side. Zeus picked up first here by Legacy Esports, something that iDivine, we saw how well he dismantled Pretty Boys last week with that. So Daddy Daycare need to be on their toes after seeing him lock in that one.
In that mid lane. So Zeus by himself, he already has plenty of clear. Geb is not exactly known for his clear, but with the Aegis as well, he'll be absolutely fine. So Legacy off to a really nice strong start trying to secure their lanes. And Ram, a possible close enough pick to Izanami, he can actually do quite a decent job just by himself.
Ram is something that Swifty's pretty familiar with. We actually saw him play in the mid-roll during split number 2, I believe, of last year. He used to play mid, now moving to the ADC role. So something he's familiar with. This is kind of, Daddy Daycare, this is one of their big challenges of the split, going up against Legacy Esports. And it's someone that they scrim against pretty frequently, so they know each other's picks. So now when the games actually matter, they really want to make sure that everyone's on something they're comfortable with. Thor, the next band from Daddy Daycare.
Straight away, just taking that away from Yada. We saw last week, Yada did an absolutely exceptional job in the jungle, just taking away all the farm, doing lots of invades, going for lots of early ganks. And since you have the Susanoo who you want to get ahead, taking away Thor who could possibly just completely shut you down, CC you off, is just a really nice pick to stop Legacy from having an easy time in the jungle.
Thoth taken away by Legacy, taking that one away from Shred, the mid laner of Daddy Daycare. Back this week, last week he was away. They were using their sub, the Beast. So Thoth now a very, very strong pick. Does a lot of damage from range. Got a very long distance dash as well, which also has, for the moment, a multiple person stun. So a really strong pick. And I'm surprised not actually prioritized by Daddy Daycare in their first 3 picks.
It could be very possible that they just don't want to pick it into... Actually, I don't know. The thing is, they're saving it for something. Maybe they really wanted to prioritize getting Ogre and Swifty on a comfortable god, and then kind of saving that mid as more of a flex role. They know that Shred can actually go for something a little bit more unconventional, and possibly they've been practicing something in scrims. That's a very possible thing.
Hercules, the last man for Legacy. Odin taken away by Daddy Daycare, who then locked themselves in tier. Though those games weren't broadcast last week, Zac did play tier in both of his games there. And so obviously we're seeing the trend here with Daddy Daycare of characters that they're very comfortable with, characters that they know the limits of. And, 3 out of the 5 of these players are playing new roles this split. Shred in the mid lane, Swifty at ADC, and Zac in the solo lane. So all picking something that they're familiar with so that they can kind of ease themselves into this game. So Ket and Amaterasu picked up here for Legacy Esports. Amaterasu, one of El Chuckles, a solo laner for Legacy, one of his favorite picks and something that he's had tremendous success on.
And that just synergizes really nicely with the Geb as well as the Zeus ultimate. It just means you have a lot of lockdown, not to mention you can actually speed up the Zeus, a very immobile character, and just give him something that he's rather lacking, and then also provide power as well for the rest of the team. So Amaterasu just does a lot in the mid to late game tier fights once she's rotated away from the solo lane. And this Ra pick on the other side, though, got a lot of sustain coming from it.
Exactly, and they really need that to focus to kind of counter a little bit of the extreme poke that comes out of Legacy with the Zeus, the Izanami, and even the Amaterasu and Geb. The Saket does have anti-heal on her ultimate, and that can spread to multiple people if the person who's been ulted is killed, but not enough to consistently dampen the healing coming out of Ra. So I'm expecting that Legacy will go into some anti-heal a little bit earlier than maybe they otherwise would. And that should help them counter this Ra healing a little bit.
Not to mention, it's basically just going to be up to Yada to just constantly just gank this Ra early and try and even shut down the Susanoo possibly. Susanoo is going to be looking to get that early lead advantage, and if they can shut that down as well as the mid lane, it will just make it a lot easier to start rotating outwards, put pressure on the Ra, and put pressure on the tier.
All right, start of the game here. We're seeing 2 from Legacy start in the mid lane. It's going to be Divine and Weave, and 2 starting in the solo lane, leaving Limits to start on his own against Swifty. And realistically, this is a good situation for Legacy that Izanami clears a lot faster than Aram does at level 1.
Not to mention as well, Kepri, even though he does have that Rising Dawn, it's not going to really affect Idivine too much. He's just going to throw down the shield, throw auto attacks from range, and Weave is going to be there to help him if Kepri decides to go for the abduct early on.
All right, we're seeing the clear come out from both teams thus far. A little bit more distance for Shred than for Idivine, and the minions are making this very awkward for Legacy here, so Daddy Daycare are going to win out the poke battle. On the right-hand side, though, we can see Yada and El Chuckles fighting with Zac and Ogre. Neither side really coming off the better there. It does look like that Legacy were falling behind in the minion clear, so Daddy Daycare going to be able to invade the speed buff. 4 members coming for this one now. Idivine looking to come in here as well, but speed buff going to fall the way of Daddy Daycare.
That actually isn't too surprising when you think about it as an Amaterasu. Amaterasu not exactly known for early clear, and now that Tier can actually use both stances at level 1, it just means that both Susanoo and Tier can easily rotate. It looks like they are now coming from behind, trying to catch Legacy off guard.
You might be able to do this as Zachariah gets a good fearless off. Chuckles and Yada still both only level 1. Yada dashing away there. Ogre chasing him down. Zachariah boxing. Yada jumps away very low here. Should still be able to get away. And now, Daddy Daycare can go secure their own buffs.
Over on the other side of the map, though, Legacy nearly were able to actually steal away the red. Actually, no, they were actually able to steal away the red buff. Limits actually picking up that red buff, now rotating over to the mid camp. That's a real nice secure after they just lost that speed buff over in the solo side.
Well, they gained 1 buff, but they dropped 2, so it's not quite an even trade, but at least it's something. At least it's a positive aspect to that trade.
Not to mention, you're just denying it from the Ra, so that just taking away just means less heal, less potency. And it looks like Daddy Daycare, though, they are starting up those Oracle Harpies. Swifty is rotated over as well, and currently no contention whatsoever from Legacy. They're just doing their own red buff instead.
I like this. It gives you some golden experience in hand, but it also gives you vision on a very important part of the map, which is the Gold Fury pit, obviously. Now, whilst teams might not be looking for Gold Furies this early on, unless they can get a 1 or 2 man advantage, people can still look to rotate through that little passageway there, and people can even look for ganks over the wall there if you have a very mobile character. Neither of these junglers really suit that build. Maybe Circuit if she jumps over there, although I would struggle to find a reason for that, but still, gives you some vision, gives you some gold and experience. Good work there by Daddy Daycare.
Yeah, not to mention, it's not only they're getting the experience, but they're denying the experience. Just having a look at the level differences right now, the mid lane as well, the mid lane is Idivine only just hit level 4, and even though Gruff is 1 level behind Weave, it doesn't matter. Once Ra hits 5, it can set up a lot of stuff, especially combined with the Typhoon and Abduct, or possibly even a Lawbringer from Zac if he decides to rotate over.
That's the biggest level difference for me, though, is the solo lane. Chuckles only just hit level 4. Zachariah's got a full level advantage on him. Zac does have his teleport rune online, so if he chooses to use that in a team fight, it could be a huge swing for Daddy Daycare. They really need to take advantage of that.
Not to mention as well, it'll be really hard if the Geb isn't there. If Spider-Man accidentally gets caught out, that's going to be a very, very dead Zeus. Once he's caught in the Fearless combo, he is just going to be carried across the map. There's a very easy potential for Ra snipes, as well as a lot of other setup. That's what I really like about Daddy Daycare's lineup. They have lots of different ways to put people out of position, and just lots of easy ways to secure damage, and they have the burst damage to back up that secure.
And the big thing as well is that while there is a Geb shield on the side of Legacy Esports being used by Weave in the support role, there's, as you mentioned, there's so many different things to pull the members of Legacy out of position that Stone Shield placement really needs to be on point, and, you know, there might just be too much CC for him to handle.
And over by the speed buff now, we see another invade from Daddy Daycare there. Idivine trying to steal it away.
Chuckles, there's the ultimate. Gruff knocked in place. Limits picks up the first blood. Great knock up there from Ogre in concert with Shred, so they get a return kill. First blood does go the way of Legacy Esports. Shred taken low. Chain lightning, beautiful from Divine, and the detonate charge is good as well. Yada ults onto Zachariah. Zachariah falls down. Yada gets out. 3-for-1 trade there for Legacy Esports.
And that shows even early on why you should not mess with the Zeus. Just during that fight of the jungle buff, we saw that the Aegis came down, the Arc Lightning went around, and everyone was taking so much damage. Nice job also by Limits there, using the Dark Portal really well to silence a lot of members out more than usual.
And that was big for me as well, is that limits rotated, whereas Swifty didn't. Swifty didn't get across in time to contribute to that fight. So it was a 5-on-4 fight for Legacy Esports. And they were the ones to initiate the fight as well. Despite Zach having an advantage in levels, Chuckles managed to hit level 5, hit 3 members with the dazzling offensive, and that either meant people had to burn ultimates to get out or burn relics, and then it was all Legacy's fight from there.
Not to mention, they had that Amaterasu passive as well, just giving them extra power and move speed as well. So they were just, even though they may possibly slightly ahead in levels, the power difference, even though they don't have the items per se, was actually there, even though that minor difference was there.
All right, 5 minutes in now. Not really much in the way of a golden experience lead, but separating these teams. But the kill advantage is in favor of Legacy Esports. Looking now at the map, seeing where everyone is, we can see that Daddy Daycare still taking, knowledge that they are even at this point with Legacy Esports. Going to go take the right-hand side mid Harpies, take the Oracle Harpies again, and really not play like they're behind, which is super important. If you play too defensively, it can really inhibit what you and your team can do. And if you just give up bits of farm, it allows the other team to set the tempo of the game.
Well, Daddy Daycare, they need to start looking for some farm. Currently, Ra sitting at the bottom of the net worth chart, only on 3,000, below even Weave on a Kepri, who's currently only level 5. So they really need to find some farm for this mid laner. They've been losing the red buff. They've been losing, as we mentioned just then, the elementals and the mid camps. They need to find some source of farm or look for a gang.
Well, Daddy Daycare have been actually the ones getting the mid camps, but I think everyone's just been splitting with Shred way too much, and that's really a difficult task. Now, given a Ra from behind isn't the worst thing because you still have a very potent heal. What it does do, though, is it takes a lot of magical damage away from your team. It takes a lot of that burst damage that you're really looking for with your combos away from your team.
Speaking of damage, though, Gold Fury actually now being started by Legacy extremely early on, thanks to Wave, as well as the Zeus ultimate should be enough to secure it.
Daddy Daycare take the Gold Fury. They steal it away from Legacy Esports, actually. So very nice work there by Daddy Daycare. Legacy, I'm really not sure what happened there. They have a Zeus that should be some of the freest secure in the game.
And it was just Swifty actually doing just a really nice job. He was kind of just peered over from the door and like, oh, they're doing the Gold Fury. Went on to his perch, used the Ra Snipe, and just got a easy secure. The problem with Zeus damage, it's kind of similar to Ho Yi ultimate, where it does a lot of damage over time. It's not one massive burst like a Ra heal. So there are those
the detonators. You can detonate though, and that could be your secure. That's a big bit of burst damage.
That is, it could be very possible that Legacy just didn't see the Ra Snipe coming, because I'm pretty sure if they'd seen that Ra Snipe, I don't know, I would have just popped that 3, but I think they got a little bit overconfident possibly.
Rama Snipe, not Ra Snipe. It would have, if they didn't see the Ra Snipe coming, I'd question it a lot, because a Ra, you have to be a bit closer than the Rama, so that's what surprised me more than anything. If it was a Ra Snipe, I could believe it a little bit more, but a Rama Snipe, especially the first one of them, doesn't do a whole lot of damage, so I'm still questioning how Legacy let that one slip through their fingers.
Well, Legacy, they're just going to have to be on the ball. If you look at the ward vision, they have so much ward vision over the entire map, and yet Swifty was just able to get that eye. It maybe could have just been him, like, just that intuition, like, is an army, isn't in lane, therefore they're probably a Gold Fury, I should probably check it out.
All right, blue buff being secured here by Legacy. They're really trying to play a lot more closer attention to their buffs after Daddy Daycare were able to invade their buffs right at the start of the game twice in a row. One thing we should mention for the side of Daddy Daycare is that this is the last week they'll be playing under that name. They have been acquired by the dark side of the organization, so that'll be a rebrand for them next week. So that'll be changing your season ticket and all that. So just know that dark sided is the Daddy Daycare squadron.
So I'm pretty sure that would mean that that would make 5 out of 6 teams now in the OPL are under orgs now.
Yes, everyone except for Pretty Boys.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So we're actually getting very close to having everyone. I'm pretty sure Pretty Boys should be able to find one soon. That'd be really nice.
All right, 8.5 minutes in. Still not much separating these teams. Experience of Gold, though, really starting to settle in the favor of Daddy Daycare after they stole that Gold Fury away from Legacy Esports.
Even though it's a small lead of 2,000 experience and 1,000 gold, it's still quite a bit for 8 minutes, and now they're just going straight for these Oracle Harpies without a single bit of contestation as the Legacy boys are doing the purple buff. But otherwise, if you look around the map, we actually see a bit of a change of pace now. Actually, Divine at the bottom of the net worth. These mid laners just not getting any farm this game at all.
Yeah, as I said, they're splitting with their support and their jungler, and as well as that, with the changes to Boomer's Master season, they're not getting the last hits on jungle camps anymore. Junglers are taking them for themselves, so while it might be just a minor bit of farm every time, it is still a bit to be concerned about if you're a mid laner.
Over in the solo lane though, Daddy Daycare looking possibly out of Chuckles. There's a 4-man rotation, but not really actually much gain from it other than possibly just these elementals, the last of their kind before the Fire Giant spawns in another 45 seconds.
We can see there, look, 4-man splitting the buffs. That's going to, not be as effective a farm as it possibly could be, but you know, you can't. There's not that much up on the map for Daddy Daycare to really look for there, other than the Fire Giant elementals. So you can't be too hard on them there. But it's just again shows why these mid laners are behind in farm.
They just possibly just need to start looking for fights. Both these teams have hit the mid game. Both these teams have really strong team fight. I'm surprised there hasn't been as much fighting as there has been. There's only really been one fight by the speed buff, and other than that, both teams really just going by themselves, and that's especially disappointing for Susanoo, who really wants to look for those early fights, and Soket is just being completely left to free farm.
Exactly right. Once she starts hitting the mid game, it's when she starts to really become effective. And late game, she can one-shot these carries, and you know, with her stealth and her ambush, makes her very potent at picking off people out of position. But what I've noticed about both of these teams in both of these weeks is that they're very slow and methodical in what they do. Now, you know, that is a good trait a lot of the time. You know, making sure that you're not playing to lose the game, but at the same time, when you go up against the higher level teams such as international competition or even Divals within the Oceanic region themselves with all the experience they've gained internationally, it's not as powerful because these teams will force their own style upon you. They will force you into a bad position by taking your buffs, by invading every chance they get, catching everyone out of position, even between towers. And this is something that both these teams need to learn and adapt to, and that's something that they will pick up over the course of the season by playing Divals and learning from each other.
Yeah, Divals are up next, and I'm really interested to see how they perform after returning from playing internationally as well. Like, they have been able to scrim against some of the top North American teams, so they can bring back some of those really interesting strategies, which we might not have seen before in OCE.
Yeah, and it's more than just strategies as well. It's a mindset, and it's the kind of the way you play the game, the mentality you have going into the game, going to farming, going into fights. It's very different overseas compared to Oceania. Gruff plucks in Idivine there, forces the beads out. There's a Ra snipe as well. Idivine, no matter, pulled in by, only got it solo. Great ultimate there by Weave. Weave picks up the kill onto Ogre as well. And now Daddy Daycare, they initiated that fight, but they lose one member instead.
Yeah, Ogre just getting caught between a rock and a hard place there. He was just diving between 4 people. And Daddy Daycare, they just kind of watched. They didn't have any follow-up. They went with the abduct, and as soon as Gruff got the abduct and then kind of did that, that's it. They backed off after that, and they just weren't initiating. Now, Legacy, they have a 5-man advantage, and they're starting to go through, knowing that they have this advantage, and the Ra snipe is down.
Zachariah, though, still has a Fearless, which can cause a fair bit of disruption, and Ra does have a fair bit of damage still on his that Celestial Beam. Chuckles diving forward and looking to catch a member out of position. It's going to be Gruff. Gruff dashes forward out of the Zeus ultimate. Zachariah, trapped in the mid camp's going to be forced to ult over the wall. So Legacy forcing a lot of stuff out of Daddy Daycare there, and now they're turning their sights back to the Gold Fury.
That was a 5-man leash, however, and without the Zeus ultimate, they did lose a lot of that secure that they could have had for that Gold Fury. So now they actually have to back up. So they didn't really get much from, they really only forced away Gruff, which is a support. So they didn't actually achieve that much, and now it's just back to the farming game again. However, Ogre actually getting extremely low there, thanks to the Death Bane.
He is going to be able to escape there. Importantly, though, they forced out the tier ultimate. You know, the tier ultimate, not the biggest in the game, but it is a big mobility factor for this tier before he has his blink online. That's going to mean that he's picked up the blink rune now. However, it still means that Yada can potentially find him out of position in a time where he might be in combat, so he can't use that blink, or if Chuckles thinks he has an advantage. With that ultimate down, it's going to make Zachariah a little bit more vulnerable to ganks.
Yeah, the most important part about that tier ultimate is the fact that it is CC immune. Once you hit that animation, you are leaping no matter what, as the game is now paused by Idivine. Seems like we'll be having some connection issues possibly for them. But tier, that's kind of the whole point. He can dive the backline with the Lawbringer or get out with the Lawbringer, and plus he has the 2 forms of Fearless to run away with as well.
Let's take a look at our graphs after that last fight. We could see Legacy Esports really starting to normalize this difference again. Only about a 400 experience difference, 800 gold difference. So a big swing from when Daddy Daycare managed to steal away that Gold Fury. And that's kind of what we've seen all game, is that Daddy Daycare will make a move, but Legacy will counter very effectively. You know, when they invaded that speed buff the first time, they got away with it. And then Daddy Daycare went for it a second time. Legacy punished them. And we saw that around that Gold Fury fight as well.
And that's why that's what Zeus does. Zeus is always going to be there for the counter engage, as Zach diving in the backline, getting quite a lot of Fearless damage onto Idivine, but the Portal Demon's still secured.
Weave's going to be able to roll away here as well, so Legacy able to take that objective for free, not paying too much for it there. Ruff taking some poke damage as well as Shred there. Shred going to heal up. Dark Portal comes through, but Shred manages to live, does burn his Purification Beads as well. So that's another big pickup here for Legacy.
Yeah, that's quite like I think Sho was actually quite lucky there that he has gone into the silver breastplate. Usually we see something like a Cronus pendant possibly, or even going straight into that Book of Thoth as Obsidian Shell, or maybe even a General Isolation or some sort of other. It has some sort of power on it. Breastplate of Valor is just a purely defense item, but those protections were possibly just enough to keep him alive from that Dark Portal.
And as I said before, you're not really relying on Ra damage too much. You're more looking to him for heals. You know, obviously you do like the burst that comes out of his ultimate, the Searing Pain, and the Celestial Beam, which is his one. But it's not really essential to your game plan if you've picked up a Ra. What is worrying for me though is that they don't have that much magical damage elsewhere. So if this Ra is going a very defensive build, which he is with the Dynasty Plate Helm first item pickup anyway, is when you've got all this tremendous setup, where is the damage really going to come through?
Really, if we're talking about magical damage, it's going to really be only the Ra, and that, as you said, that's the problem. They do have the physical damage coming out from both Susanoo, as well as a little bit, actually over in the solo lane though, Yada getting a nice kill onto Zac.
Looking around the Gold Fury pit, though, Legacy forced out of there by Daddy Daycare. Daddy Daycare not attempting to start that one up themselves, despite having the advantage. Chuckles teleports in behind Shred. Dash is caught by Gruff. Chuckles fires off his 2 there. Ultimate comes down from Artivine as well, and Legacy forcing away Daddy Daycare from the Gold Fury. Pick up the Oracle Harpies. Shred, low in the mid lane, going to be healing himself up, but at the moment, Legacy keeping Daddy Daycare away from this objective, not doing too much with that advantage, though.
Yeah, they're currently actually getting pulled in there. Divine luckily has the Gap Shield just to keep him barely alive, but Swifty going into the sky.
Meditation comes through. One shot hits Divine. The second misses. Shred gets the snipe through the wall, however. Divine falls down. Knock up 2. Gets only good at solo. Limits looking to find one here as Weave's plucked in. 4-man ulti there from the Geb. No follow-up damage to come out of it here. Zachariah blinks in. Fearless chain onto Weave. Weave, no chance there. He's burst down by Shred. Yada dashed in, forced to ambush away. Might get caught out by the members of Daddy Daycare unless he can get away between his towers, which he can. And now Daddy Daycare should get this Gold Fury relatively free.
And that's one of the great powers of Ra, the fact that you can just snipe through the wall, and that really caught Zeus off guard there. Zac doing a good job keeping El Chuckles out of the Gold Fury pit. Now Daddy Daycare secure their second Gold Fury of the game.
Yeah, it gives him a little bit of an experience and gold advantage, just about the kind of the standard amount you'd expect, 2,000 gold, 1,900 experience. No major lead yet, but the biggest thing that'll come out of this play, I think, is going to be this mid-tier 1 tower. If they can take that one down, that really opens up Legacy's jungle on the left-hand side and the right-hand side for them to invade, which we've seen Daddy Daycare like to do. But with a little bit of safety removed, now they should have more success. However, they don't get this tower.
No, Limit on Chuckles is providing too much of a defense. They're just shredding away the minions. And I don't think Daddy Daycare want to commit. They're actually all pretty low on mana. They have to back. They just don't have the sustain just yet to go into that fight. And you could say Shred would have the sustain with the right heal, but if he wastes his mana and then Yada comes in with the ultimate, that is just goodbye for him.
Exactly right. They didn't want to risk it there. Zeus has got a lot of damage at this stage. Limits has got a lot of damage at this stage as well. So not overcommitting themselves, but they've chunked the tower down a fair bit. So if they get themselves an advantage anytime soon, or if Shred pushes up the lane and spots out Legacy elsewhere on the map, he can go for it and more than likely get it. So they're not overcommitting to the here and now. They're playing a bit of a longer game.
Well, speaking of playing the long game, actually, Ra, instead of going for a Breastplate of Valor, which I thought he was going to be going into for that cooldown, he instead actually went into the Spectral Armor, which is a really decent counter to Circuit. Circuit, what she's usually doing, she doesn't go straight away for the ultimate. She usually does that Cobra's Kiss or the Deathbane. And being feared away gives Ra that moment to possibly get away, use a beads, or possibly just have an ally back him up in some sort of way.
The thing with Spectral Armor, though, is that passive can only proc once every 90 seconds. And it's on any physical damage you receive from a god. So Limits can auto-attack that Ra, proc the Spectral Armor, and then for a minute and a half, it's going to do nothing.
And speaking of Daddy Daycare, they're actually now diving the tier 1 tower.
Zeus ultimate used there by Artivine. Gruff still taking tick damage from it. Snipe comes through from Shred, doesn't hit anyone. Yada was stone shielded by Weave there. Daddy Daycare, though, still very healthy outside this tower. They do have the Ra heals, like we mentioned. Meditation was burnt by Legacy, and Legacy looked to be giving this one up.
Well, they can actually be give it a bit of peace of mind knowing that El Chuckles is actually able to solo down this tier 1 tower in the solo lane, but Daddy Daycare, they are not allowing that for free.
Yeah, Chuckles might get collapsed on here. Chuckles does have his ultimate in case he is hit by a lot of CC. The tier 1 tower on the solo side doesn't matter too much. Chuckles, rooted in place by Gruff. There's the dazzling offensive coming through from him. He stuns out Zachariah. Good move there to stop the Fearless from Zac, but the tier 1 tower on the right-hand side for Legacy might fall. Good Cataclysm, though, from Weave. Here comes the damage for Legacy. Yada, ult Swifty. Swifty in a lot of danger here. Dark Portal comes through. Ogre was the first to fall down as Yada jumps away. Kefri ultimate used onto Zachariah, so that means Gruff is all out and exposed.
And now Legacy, they are very much going the offensive. They have the speed boost from El Chuggles, and Graf just gets bursted down. Shred trying to turn around and use the Rasnime, but it's not doing as much as you would think. And Shred already getting bursted under tower thanks to our Divine's Detonate Charge.
They're looking to push the tier 2 tower here. Our Legacy, they might not be healthy enough to do it at this stage, though. Do have a fair amount of minions coming through. Weave doing a nice job zoning there. Weave did a really brilliant job in that team fight, actually managing to get in and get a huge Cataclysm, and then rolling around afterwards, knocking out Gruff and just setting up his team for another kill. And look at Yada here. He backed. He went to base, healed up, and now he's pushing the mid lane. So Legacy might get a tier 1 tower in addition to 2 towers on the right-hand side.
Well, not only the tier 1 and tier 2 of Solid Lane and mid lane, they're also getting the pull damage as well. They've been just given that one chance to get ahead, and Legacy are taking every single chance they get while Yada getting fearless under tower.
Yeah, he's going to fall down here, stayed a little bit too young, did a little bit too long, I should say, did Yada under that tower, but again, doing a nice amount of damage for it. He isn't too worried about sacrificing his own life there. His team now dead even with Daddy Daycare, despite all the objectives that Daddy Daycare have taken away from them. And so, at this stage as well, given the builds coming out from Idivine and Shred, it's really going to be going in the favor of Legacy because Shred doesn't have nearly as much damage as Idivine does. And we've seen in these team fights, once Shred's ultimate is down, he hasn't contributed much to the fights at all, whereas Divine has stayed relevant past his ult using that shield and chain lightning combo.
Not only that as well, we've seen Lemons do a really nice job of cleaning up in these fights. He's gone a really pen-intensive build. Got the Ichabod, the Arcee, the Shins, and now building possibly into the Titan's Bane. He has just completely forgone the crit and just looking to do as much penetration as possible, which is very necessary when you're up against a tier as well as a Khepri.
Alrighty, right-hand side, we see Daddy Daycare again pressuring this tower. Chuckles, again, dazzling offensive to stop any CC coming out on him, but Daddy Daycare, not to be denied this time, take away the tower. Legacy, though, do manage to secure their own speed buff. Fire Giant is watered up by Daddy Daycare, so they're not terribly worried about Legacy sneaking that one by them. Both teams at this stage, though, group pick is 5, and Legacy trying to defend a tower, Daddy Daycare trying to pressure it. At this stage, I'd really like to see someone go off and maybe split push an objective, but Legacy won a team fight here. Good Cataclysm by Weave. Ogre forced the Aegis away. There's the ultimate coming out from our Divine. Gruff, already 50% HP here. One detonate might be enough to take him out. He meditates himself. Yada with the ultimate there. Khepri ult comes through from Gruff, but he should fall down when he revives. He does. Chuckles dashes forward for the kill.
That is one of the scariest things I actually saw in that fight due to Soke. The last breath will still remain even after you've been revived by the Scarab's Blessing. And now Legacy, they have free reign of this tower. They just don't have the tag. Zac kind of just watching on as he's seeing his tower fall. Legacy actually rotating now as well to the Gold Fury as well, as since that's up as well. And they can just go straight to Fire Giant from here possibly as well, depending on how free this Gold Fury is.
Gold Fury pretty free there. What it looks like to me is Daddy Daycare really isn't respecting the damage coming out of Legacy, especially coming out from Idivine and Limits.
Well, not even Idivine Limits, Yada as well. Yada's just been a pain in their side. If we have a look at the player damage as well, we can see Soke kind of middle on the charts, but that isn't the important thing. The fact he's been doing a lot of crucial damage. He's actually already 2-1-5. He's the second top kills on the team. He's been doing a really nice job just constantly annoying and harassing the backline, and every last breath I've seen so far from him has been just a really decent last breath.
Alright, talk to me about this Shield of Regrowth on Amaterasu. What does it provide for her?
Well, the thing is, Amaterasu already has a speed burst from her 1. When she presses her 1, it switches stance into speed mode. Not only does she get a little bit of healing, which will proc the Shield of Regrowth speed passive, but also she will just be zooming even faster. It just means she can go further in the backline and can provide further assistance, and she can just be everywhere. Tyr kind of does that with the Lawbringer, but Armor's just using that via pure speed.
Alrighty, we see Legacy grouping around the right-hand side. Daddy Daycare doing the same. Again, though, you look at the left-hand side, both mini waves are perfectly in the middle. Both towers very, very healthy here. I really thought we would see one of these solo laners going and pressuring this, or even an ADC or jungler pushing these waves up, trying to get pressure elsewhere and forcing something out of the other team. But neither team seems really willing to do that. They seem very nervous to me. They don't want to be caught short in a fight. And we see now, look, Legacy recognize the opportunity, get Chuckles to push to the right-hand side, go and take their buffs as well, and then regroup for a fight.
The thing is, they do have to be very careful. If Limits or Swifty falls in the fight, they lose quite a lot of their DPS. As we mentioned for Daddy Daycare's case, Ra isn't outputting that much damage, so they need that ADC to really be online. And if Swifty just falls there, just split pushing, it may even feel like a waste, even though both of them have really strong steroids to push towers.
Alright, 23 minutes into this game now. You can see slight experience and gold advantage for Legacy, but pretty much dead even at this point. No real advantage coming out in terms of the build from either team. As I mentioned before, the only kind of advantage I see is in the mid lane, that Divine has a lot more damage online at this stage than Shred does. Shred has gone for this Chronos Pendant, and this is really, again, speaking to me that this Ra is looking to be much more utility than burst damage for his team.
Yeah, especially due to the fact that Chronos Pendant got buffed recently with the fact that it now actually ticks down and actually has an active effect of providing more chances to actually get your abilities back online. It just means that Ra Ultimate is up more often. You have the Sands of Time for the 10%, the Chronos Pendant for the 20%, and that means you're probably having your ultimate up about every 50 to 40 seconds, which is just a really nice thing for team fights. So instead of doing damage at once, he's just doing it quite quickly consecutively.
All right, Portal Demon contested by both of these teams so far. It hasn't spawned yet, but neither team wants to be caught on the back foot when it does come up. Again, both teams grouped as 5 here around this objective. Ward coverage in favor of Legacy Esports, though. So there's not going to be anyone from Daddy Daycare catching them off guard. Divine just using his shield as a zoning tool thus far.
Yeah, and now they're actually just turning their attention straight to the Portal Demon with Daddy Daycare. They're now slowly encroaching in as El Chuckles, using the silence to kind of zone them away.
Gruff was knocked up there. No real advantage found thus far for either team. Limits, though, chunked down there by Shred. Divine doing some poke damage. Again, though, neither team really finding their advantage just yet. Neither team committing to the fight.
I don't think we actually mentioned this yet, but El Chuckles has picked up the Sundering Spear, so whenever they do go into the fights, I'm expecting El Chuckles to just put that Sunder either on the Kepri or Zac to, one, reduce their protections, and then just make it much easier for either Limits, Divine Yada, or Wave to really just output that damage.
Well, see, I wouldn't even be surprised if he put it onto one of the carries just to ensure that Divine gets a lot more one-shot potential out of his detonate charge. Portal falls away of Daddy Daycare there as Legacy were forced away. So that portal is open now for Daddy Daycare to take advantage of. They can all back buy some items and come through that portal very healthy. So Legacy need to make sure that they don't get taken by surprise here.
If anything, yeah, Daddy Daycare, they should just, as you said, just back right out, pick up those items, go through that portal. Because currently Legacy, especially Divine, really low on mana. They could be looking to pressure this Fire Giant, but Daddy Daycare, they seem a little bit hesitant to actually start this Fire Giant.
You don't want to really start a Fire Giant when the other team has 5 members up. It's a really, really risky situation to take. You need some kind of advantage. You know, unless you're like 10,000 gold up or something, which neither team are at this point, it's a much too risky proposition to even contemplate that, even with a Portal Demon.
Yeah, now it just looks like Daddy Daycare and Legacy back into the same stalemate. Both of them just surrounding the Fire Giant, neither really wanting to engage on each other, understanding the consequences if that happens. Swifty coming through the portal, and now it even looks like Daddy Daycare just pushing up the solo lane, just backing off from this Fire Giant.
And that's fine. They're just trying to get some pressure. They don't need to commit to the Fire Giant at this point. They don't need to take that objective. A lot of teams feel like sometimes that they have to take a Fire Giant if they get the portal, if they have ward coverage on that area. You don't. You can force things elsewhere. The Fire Giant is something that you take when you have the advantage, not just because you feel like you need to.
I'm more worried about the fact that they've just been standing around this Fire Giant and not actually farming off the map and just delaying their level 20, delaying the amount of gold they can get. It'd be so easy to just chuck Limits or Swifty into that other lane and push super hard. Both of them just have that ability to take down towers within seconds, especially now they're basically full build. I'm surprised that they haven't attempted to do it yet. However, Legacy, they're actually taking this opportunity to take the Gold Fury.
See, this is the kind of play that I like to see. A smart map awareness there. They can know that Daddy Daycare's going to be hanging around this Fire Giant. They can see no one's been in the Joy Lane for about 1 million years, so the left-hand side of the map should be relatively open for them to take, and they take advantage of that knowledge. Fire Giant was procced there by Daddy Daycare, not looking to necessarily start that one as much as bait Legacy in.
And now Legacy, they're not really falling for the bait. They know Daddy Daycare's tricks. They know what to expect. They're expecting a Typhoon, they're expecting Abducts, and they're expecting Zac to be diving the backline. So just playing is very safe. However, Daddy Daycare slowly encroaching around their speed buff.
Yeah, they're just trying to establish themselves the vision around this area. Limits is going to go ahead and clear out 2 wards of Daddy Daycare. So at the moment, the vision battle is what's being decided here. Fire Giant nearly pulled there by Divine. It is actually pulled there once he detonates the charge, so he needs to be careful. He backs out of that Fire Giant hit. However, blinking by Wee, 3-man Cataclysm. Chuckles goes in with a dazzling offensive. He's trying to find a Shred, but Shred gets a nice purification of Celestial Beam comes through. Zachariah diving the backline of Limits and Divine, but Ogre's taking too much damage. Ogre falls down to Limits. Up in the sky goes 50. He's looking for the snipes on Divine and onto Yada. Hits the second one onto Yada, misses the third one, while Chuckles picks up Gruff. It's a 2-for-0 trade in favor of Legacy. Make that 3-for-0 as Limits gets his second kill of the fight, and Legacy push Daddy Daycare away, and now they can look for the Fire Giant.
That was just a really awkward position from Daddy Daycare that just allowed Limits to line his auto attacks up through that really narrow corridor. And now we can kind of just see them starting up this thing. Only Zed, Shred, and Zachariah are available. Shred does have the ultimate and he may be able to steal it away, but Legacy, they take it before it's too late.
No, yeah, he didn't get the timing right there. He was out of range for just far too long. And now after that fight, we can see experience and gold heavily in favor of Legacy Esports. 4,200 experience, 4,900 gold in favor of the boys in green.
Well, not only that, look at the item difference as well. We can start to see almost all of Legacy are basically finished up all their items. They're just finishing off those 6 items, selling off those starter items. And then look at Daddy Daycare, especially looking at Shred. He has just been put so far behind. He hasn't even finished his Obsidian Shell or even started a Rod to Hootie yet. And he just doesn't have enough pen to back himself up. He may have been able to steal away the Fire Giant, but in that team fight, he just didn't have enough power to actually do anything.
We can see even rituals coming out from the side of Legacy. Both Yada and Weave have got a ritual. Yada with the flickering ritual, Weave with the frenzied ritual. So Legacy Esports, not only are they looking to take structures here, they're definitely looking to fight. And honestly, their team fight at this stage of the game is much, much better than that of Daddy Daycare's.
And not only that, look at that tower pressure as well. That tower dissipated in less than 1 second. Limit showing the power of Izanami as the tier 1 and tier 2 will fall within the span of 10 seconds. Daddy Daycare backing off slowly, knowing that they can't defend either tower.
Yeah, they really need to have minions pushed in front of their tower. They need to all be at the tower line, ready to defend it if they have any chance to. If they're as far back as they are now, they've got no chance. And then we saw that on the left-hand side. We're seeing it in the middle. They're not even really looking to contest. They don't even get any real poke damage out. So Legacy Esports get all of the towers running on the map from Daddy Daycare. Phoenixes are their next objective here in this game.
And Legacy, they have the level advantage. They can easily look to possibly dive, and they also have the Fire Giant as well for the sustain. They have meditation, they have all the rituals up, and I'm expecting Week to be the first one to just go in there with a Blink Cataclysm. They're all just crowded around that mid-Phoenix.
Oh, absolutely. He's got the Frenzy as well, so he'll pop the Frenzy ritual, Blink in, Cataclysm. He's got the Void buff as well, so the protections are going to be reduced all around him. It's really kind of the best setup that iDivine can get.
And the problem with Daddy Daycare, which is really a problem with Khepri, he really needs to be both in the backline and the frontline at the same time. He needs to be in the frontline pulling people, but he also needs to be in the backline so he can actually get his ultimate off. And currently, Weave is he's actually able to do a much better job since he has both the Stone Shield as well as he's just ahead in levels.
Yeah, Weave blinks in, gets a Cataclysm only down onto Zachariah there. No one has fallen particularly low on the side of Daddy Daycare just yet. Zachariah diving Divine in the backline here. No real damage though coming out of the tier at this stage of the game. Gruff getting low. Gruff needs to be careful. He is a tank, but he's getting very low there. Limits chunks him in. Limits pulled into the tower, but a beautiful Aegis and Stone Shield will save his life. Chuckles zoning away Daddy Daycare. In blinks Zachariah. He gets Limits. The Phoenix is still up. Over the air goes Swifty looking to find a kill here, but no one's low enough. Middle Phoenix falls, and now Legacy looking to push into the Titan pit.
And as they're pushing in, Zachariah is no escape from him. Limits just finishing him off. The Frenzied Ritual has been pressured on, and now they're just looking possibly. Gruff has already popped the Scarab's Blessing, so there's no revive available in the fight.
Shred, Swifty both taking a fair bit of damage there. Yada traveling around the outside, still has his flickering ritual left, so he could look to dive the backline here. Chuckles diving in, Gruff caught by the Dark Portal from Limits. 3 members pulled in, but only got a solo. You don't want to do that. They're all looking to kill you, my friend. Yada picks up Swifty. Yada gets the ultimate onto Ogre. Ogre, no healing available for him. Limits picks up Shred. Chuckles picks up Ogre. Left-hand side Phoenix is down. It's a dear side for Legacy Esports, and it's going to be game number 1 going the way of Legacy.
As soon as Legacy got that Fire Giant, they literally put their foot as hard as they could on the gas pedal and just took every single remaining objective and just shattered through them. Daddy Daycare just not really putting enough pressure on the map.
Exactly right. Legacy Esports showing a much greater understanding of how to play the map, how to play the objectives, and how to dictate the pace to your opponent in that one. Alrighty, that's going to do it for game number 1, folks. We can take a short break and then be back with game number 2 between Legacy and Daddy Daycare.
is over. My life is over. 'Cause I start thinking again about our time together. When the night is over, my life is over. 'Cause I start thinking again about our time together. When the night is over, my life is over. 'Cause I start thinking again about our time together. When the night is over, my life is over. 'Cause I start thinking again about our time together.
Alrighty, guys, we are back. Game number 2 between Daddy Daycare and Legacy Esports. Legacy Esports taking away game number 1. A close one up until about the 25-minute mark, Lynx Clone.
Yeah, there wasn't much they could do after a couple of unfortunate teamfights for them. Legacy just absolutely steamrolling them, using that Zeus to their full advantage.
And that's actually going to be the first ban away here from Daddy Daycare. And, after seeing what iDivine could do with that pick, I'm not very surprised that they've taken it away. Thanatos banned by Legacy.
Yeah, the Thanatos ban, still not a surprising one. I'm expecting a lot of the top bans to be coming through, and Thanatos is most certainly one of them. Ratatuska, another top ban jungler. Both of them just have a lot of really good early pressure, and Daddy Daycare, they just don't want Legacy to have such an easy early game.
Ratatuska taken away by Daddy Daycare. So very similar bans from these teams this time around. Kobraken taken away as well this time by Legacy Esports. First pick opportunity here for Daddy Daycare. What do you think they can pick up with this first pick?
They have actually quite a lot of options. I'm expecting probably a Sylvanas pickup, possibly even a Thoth pickup. There's quite a few choices, and Sylvanas is going to be that first pickup, and that is not even remotely surprising. I think Sylvanas has been banned almost every other game this split so far. He's just such a strong support, so much sustain, and there's very little you can do to stop him in a team fight.
All right, Thoth picked up now by Legacy Esports for iDivine in the mid. And, we've seen both of these games that Legacy picking something up in the mid lane with high burst damage for iDivine to play. That's really the style of mid lane mage that he likes. Izanami picked up again, this time, again, going the way of limits. I really do like the Sylvanas pick for Daddy Daycare. It very much speaks to me of Gruff's style of play. It can be a heavy initiator, but it can also be a backline support. And it provides a lot of utility for his team in the form of heals and protections coming from that healing as well. Ho Yi locked in for Daddy Daycare. Poseidon hovered by them as well, and is going to be locked in. So I'm seeing a very huge, big area damage composition coming out from Daddy Daycare thus far.
Yeah, not to mention they just have really nice secure for the Kraken. Usually it's quite hard to find a land on the Kraken, especially Thoth, who's quite a slippery little person. But with the fact they have the Sylvanas to knock up, you have the Huyi stun, it just provides a lot of opportunities to set up that Poseidon Kraken. However, Khepri this time going actually to Legacy this time instead of Daddy Daycare.
So I still like the Khepri pick. I still think it did relatively well for Daddy Daycare last time. The only thing was Gruff was occasionally caught out of position. What it did do, though, was it revived himself and his teammates when they needed to be. Obviously, though, there was just still too much pressure from Legacy Esports for them to deal with. Tyr banned away by Legacy. Hercules banned by Daddy Daycare. So the solo lane is really getting the hammer taken to him in this banning stage.
I don't think El Chuckles is going to be two-faced. He actually has quite a diverse gold pool, so he can just go to one of his many other gods if that is the case. Willix also being taken off the table as well. It just basically stops them from just pulling a very obvious combo, Sylvanas knock up into a Willix pool.
Odin taken away by Daddy Daycare. That one surprises me a little bit. I don't really see where the Odin pick synergizes into Legacy's comp. Obviously it gives you limited room to work, and it makes the Thoth ultimate a little bit easier to hit, but not essentially so. Odin synergizes much better with a Poseidon and with a Zeus or a Vulcan, for example. Thor going to be locked in for Legacy Esports here, so that's going to be going the way of Yada in the jungle.
Yeah, that's just one of his comfort picks. We saw his Thor actually absolutely excel. And this team is actually a really nice team setup. You can block off an entire lane with Thor wall, and that just makes it so much easier for Thoth to hit his ultimate. And due to the fact that Poseidon has no real way of getting past that wall, they're going to be stuck there. However, a much stranger combination, Verman and Nike. One of them is going to be going to the jungle, and I'm not sure which one.
It's Nike. It has to be Nike. Verman doesn't do anything in the jungle. Nike's a much stronger jungler. We've seen it played at Worlds by Captain Twig. It's a warrior, only good at solo. Obviously, used to play in the solo lane. It's a warrior that he's may not be used to, but he's used to warriors. He's used to the play style of warriors. And Nike jungle honestly provides a decent amount of damage, provides more setup for your team, though, and a heck of a lot of survivability.
I'm only worried for the fact is that they don't have a really just that burst ultimate. Like, they have the Poseidon ultimate, which is good burst, but Thoth is usually going to be in the backline. You usually need like an assassin to get in there and be able to kill off the Thoth. And with the fact that Nike, she does have that leap, but unless she's used to her too, that leap is going to take quite a while to get there. And then you also have Khepri as well, keeping everyone alive. I'm going to find it quite hard for Daddy Daycare to find these kills if they don't position correctly.
Exactly right. It's gonna basically they're one-trick ponies in this game. It's all about protecting the Poseidon and setting up for the Poseidon Kraken. But failing that, Swifty's got a fair bit of damage he could put out, especially with his Sunbreaker ultimate. essentially, though, the first couple of crackers, the first couple of team fights really need to be on point for Daddy Daycare. If this Poseidon falls behind, we've seen it in a lot of games in the OPL. When Poseidon falls behind, he's not nearly as effective as he is from even or ahead. You know, while that might seem like an obvious statement, there are some gods which are still decently effective from behind, such as Ra. And the Poseidon, though, because he's essentially a one ability god, the Kraken is everything you're playing around and what your team is playing around. If that's down or if you're behind, it's going to be really difficult for Daddy Daycare.
And I feel like it's especially important in this game that Shred really itemizes correctly. Last game, it was almost a little too much protection as we look on the duo side as Wave and Limits actually looking to proxy the wave between the tier 1 and the tier 2 tower.
So this is something we actually saw at Worlds, albeit in a slightly different situation. We saw a proxying of wave between towers by Team Eager as they rotated between Speed and Red Buff. But what this is going to allow them to do, we can see right now, they're going to straight up invade the Red Buff. Swifty's going to have to rotate in to defend this one. Even if he successfully defends this buff, he's going to lose a lot of minions to his tower here. So Legacy Esports are being really crafty here. What they need to be careful of, though, is that they might get caught out by Shred and Gruff, and Weave actually is going to get caught out, forced to meditate here, rolls the sun out, keeping himself alive for now, though. But as we mentioned, Legacy Esports, Daddy Daycare lose an entire minion wave to the tower.
Yeah, that was just a really nice play, and also it just forced Gruff to rotate over, just losing any sort of pressure Poseidon could have. Though usually has quite a rough time in lane trying to clear, especially against a Poseidon and a Sylvanas, both of them really strong lane clear. So forcing Gruff to rotate across just means that it just allows Thoth to actually just get that to level 2, get the Glyph of the Pain, and actually start doing things in lane, which usually he would just be under too much pressure.
Daddy Daycare now are going to be able to clean up their purple buff. The red buff, 2 of the creeps did fall the way of Legacy, but importantly, the buff carrying creep did not.
And now Daddy Daycare, they can recoup their losses, they can get these buff. And it looks like on the other side of the map, they haven't suffered too many losses, no any weird tricks coming out from Legacy this time. So it's going to be more of a standard sort of start over in the solo lane.
Yeah, so thus far, pretty safe game from either team, other than the invade there from Legacy Esports. You know, Daddy Daycare, you know, as well as that, another benefit for Legacy from invading that buff is it means that Daddy Daycare couldn't look to invade them on the speed and solo side.
However, Daddy Daycare, they will be looking at these Oracle Harpies, Nike, Gruff, and Shred all grouped around. They have the sustain, but Weave could possibly steal it away if they're quick enough.
No, it is just too much damage coming out from Daddy Daycare. Yada, though, does have a wall. It stays Warsloff, Ogre, and Gruff, both of them rooted there by Weave. Whirlpool comes out, though, from Shred to stop too much aggression. Gruff takes a fair bit of damage, but Eastern Sylvanas does have a lot of sustain. The Daddy Daycare get away with those Oracle Harpies.
Poseidon, a really decent counter to Khepri that we saw. He tried to use the Abduct, and instead he was just straight away just stopped by the cripple of the Whirlpool, so there was no way for Weave to get through that corridor.
Take a look at our solo side of things here. Pretty even matchup thus far between these two. Chuckles with a slight experience advantage here. Zachariah should be able to make up that deficit when he clears these minions, and he does. Really not too much excitement on this side of the map. The early camps are up, and Daddy Daycare do have a 4-man advantage, and this is another benefit of taking the Oracle Harpies. You could go for these early camps and commit a lot of resources to it without really having to worry about the Gold Fury being stolen away.
And now that they've done that, we actually see that Zach's at level 5, and most of the rest of the team on Daddy Daycare are already hitting 5 as well, Shred hitting 5 as well. So I really want to see Daddy Daycare start rotating around, look for some kills with that Kraken, especially if they can catch Thoth before he can beat away.
Exactly right. This is where Thoth is really, really vulnerable. He's back to base now, so he's going to be He's going to be starting on the boots. Actually, I thought he might have finished off the helm, but obviously not enough gold in hand for him to do that one. So he's very vulnerable at this stage. Doesn't have a whole lot of health. Doesn't have a whole lot of damage to turn and burn anyone really. So this is where I'm seeing the Kraken as being the most impactful.
Not to mention as well, the Thoth hasn't picked up a Purification, he's actually picked up an Aegis instead. So if Gruff can actually get the knocker before iDivine can use that Aegis, he's going to be stuck in the end, he's going to be taking that full Kraken no matter what he wants to do. And that's really where it comes down to Weave, really communicating with iDivine and staying together.
Alrighty, 4 minutes into this one, we've just seen the helm completed by Shred, so gives him a good amount of power, gives him some good protection, and importantly for this stage of the game, gives him 15 magical penetration as well. So squishier target's going to be taking a lot more damage from abilities like his Whirlpool and his Kraken if Daddy Daycare can execute this combo.
Well, not only that, it just gives him a little bit of peace of mind against Yada, who's going to be roaming around the map and possibly looking to get an Anvil of Dawn right on top of Shred. So just that extra little bit of protection, and he does have that move speed from his 2 to compensate for the lack of boots.
And that's something we haven't talked about too much is the Thor pickup. It's something that Yada knows and knows decently well, but it's got incredible synergy with this Thoth pick. Not only does he have the Anvil of Dawn, which you were just talking about, but his wall as well. Both excellent setups for the Thoth ultimate when Divine chooses to pull the trigger on that one.
And the great thing about Thor, he usually plays more of a bruiser role. He can do a lot of damage overhead, but if he does fall a little bit behind, that's not an issue. He can just play more of the utility game as Gruff, getting pulled by wave.
Yeah, taking about half his health and damage. They're forcing the ultimate actually out of the Sylvanas. They're forcing the meditation as well. Dark Portal comes through. Great stun there from Idivine. Ultimate as well. Just barely missing the big tree, but Limits really wants this kill. Going for it. Oh, the pull in by Gruff pulls Limits towards him. Divine gets the kill with a basic attack. Actually, I think it was the minions that picked up the kill there at the end.
Yeah, but Idivine just really wanted the kill. Like, he even released the ultimate actually a little bit early as well, just to make sure he could hit it, but sadly just off the mark. However, Legacy, not only did they get their kill, but they also get the Oracle Harpies for themselves, changing the tides of battle.
You know, big contribution there has to go the way we have to acknowledge Idivine in that fight. Obviously, he does get the first blood, but his rotation over from the mid lane is what enabled Legacy to get the kill. Solo lane side, we see Zachariah and Only Good at Solo teaming up for the kill onto El Chuckles.
And that's really a testament to how much effort you need to put into actually kill a shot, because you need two people. Like, he was by himself. Yada had already left lane. There was a fight beforehand where both sides got pretty decently low, and it looked like the Nike just provided just enough CC, enough pressure to finally reduce Chuckles low enough.
Wall from Yada hits a double tap on a Shredder, takes a fair bit of damage, but the heals from Gruff are going to allow him to sustain that back up, so no real trouble. He is going to back anyway just to get himself some boots, get himself some more mobility online.
And now it looks like just everyone's back to the farming. It's very similar to the very first game. There's a tiny bit of skirmishing going on between the solo lane and a little bit over in the duo lane, but other than that first bit of pressure, it's been quite a quiet game.
6.5 minutes in, no real advantage for either of these teams. Very similar to what we saw last game. What we did see last game, though, was Daddy Daycare getting a lot of the pressure early, and then Legacy responded to that. This game, it's kind of been the opposite.
Yeah, I'm also, again, putting the ball in Legacy's court here to actually look possibly for an invade. Yada may actually be looking for an Anvil Dawn, kind of just sitting in the mid lane, and it looks like Legacy kind of grouping up around this Gold Fury red buff area.
Gruff, ult sweep, and Limits there. Limits taken low. The dot damage from the heal is gonna, from the wisp, I should say, is gonna force his visibility back again. Ogre here in the left-hand side lane as well, looking to just push up the wave and give his team an advantage. They decide to start the Gold Fury, which they are doing. Swifty, Gruff, and Shred to start off that objective. Idivine hanging around the corner. Here comes Divine, looking to steal it away with one shot, but Daddy Daycare secure that objective. Divine takes some damage from Only Good at Solo, stuns him out as well. Ogre takes a double tap, jumps back towards safety, however. Gold Fury, though, falls away of Daddy Daycare.
Idivine so close, and that's the risk when it comes to Final Judgment on Goat. If you release that slight bit too early, you actually miss out on one of those damage portions, and that could have been enough to actually secure that Gold Fury for the team.
Exactly right, and I really like the job that Daddy Daycare did there. They bursted down. They used the Kraken, they used the Sunbreaker ultimate on it just to make doubly sure that they could keep that objective. And Kraken, one of the best objective securers in the game, especially at this early stage.
Yeah, and then you have the Sunbreaker doing damage over time as well, and it's quite a long, decent period of time. So they just stack those two together, and there was no real way. Idivine tried his best, but it wasn't really possible. Over in the solo lane, though, Chuckles again getting pressured by both Ogre as well as Zach.
I really like this from Daddy Daycare. Chuckles is a long-time veteran player in the solo lane, relatively speaking, compared to other players in the OPL. And he won the MVP of Split number 2 last year as well. Has had great LAN performance as well. Really one of the stars of this team. Him and Idivine really are the two players that I look at on this roster. So shutting him down early, not allow him to have the same disrupting effect that he had last game, has been really big for Daddy Daycare. That's fine. We haven't seen many rotations out of El Chuckles, which is what he really showed last game.
Not only that as well, comparing Yada and Ogre, Ogre's already got a 2-level lead over Yada, as Yada's been called over to the solo lane over and over again, as the pressure coming out from Ogre around the red buff as well, actually starting up a fight possibly.
They're looking for a fight, but not really going to find one. Ogre taking a fair bit of damage here, but he should be able to get out of this one alive with the heals and with the Oh, Shred actually gets Chuckles in the mid lane. Chuckles dove him down to the tower and Shred bursted him down, but it means though that Legacy they can initiate this fight. Good knock up there from Gruff. Sunbreaker comes down from Swifty. Limits is revived there by Weave, but is revived right in front of Swifty. Yada up in the sky. Ogre picks up Idivine. Yada comes crashing down, but there's no damage available for him as Zachariah secures Limits around the right hand side of the camp. And now Daddy Daycare diving under the tower. Big Baby ultimate is used, but there's not enough CC here to secure anyone on Legacy. And now Gruff and the rest of the boys going to look for the left-hand side tier 1 tower and should be able to get it just fine.
We have a Vermont and Nike as well as a Hugi, all healing from Sylvanas who is pushing in that team fight. Legacy, they just didn't have the burst. Even the Thoth ultimate just not really able to connect. And Daddy Daycare, they were able to push that fight and force it to go on for much longer than necessary. And Legacy was kind of stuck there in this limbo of slowly dying, and eventually they just could not out-sustain them.
Importantly there for me as well was Chuckles tried to stop Shred getting into the fight in mid lane, but paid for it with his life as well. So that means that Chuckles then wasn't able to get in the fight. So essentially they took each other out of the fight, but Chuckles is a lot more impactful for Legacy than Daddy Daycare is for Shred. Now it's not necessarily to do with the characters that they're playing, but just who they are as players.
Yeah, and it just means Shred just gets an extra bit of free farm. He's already hit level 11, and we've mentioned the issue of Poseidon in previous games in the split so far, just falling behind and not really having a chance to come back. But currently, Shred actually dictating the mid lane as Idivine is actually a level behind.
That's really big as well, because as I mentioned, the two big players for Legacy Esports are Idivine and El Chuckles, both of whom are at an experience disadvantage and a goal disadvantage to their counterparts on Daddy Daycare thus far.
Yeah, especially it's really obvious with our net worth. Both sitting third on the ladder, Yada second, and last but not least, Weave. And he has opted into these tank boots, so he doesn't have any additional way to earn that gold back compared to the Sylvanas with the Talaria boots.
Take a look at our graphs now. We can see a big experience advantage for Daddy Daycare, 4,200, and the gold difference, 2,800. So we didn't really see Daddy Daycare establish this much of a lead last game. We only saw it really in the gold department rather than experience. So I'm very interested to see what they do with this lead. You know, are they going to be able to hang on to it? Or like in the last game, are they going to just throw it away?
I'm looking really at Yada to really be the one going in as the aggressor or Gruff, depending if he has his Blink Rune online once he hits level 12. Both of them just need to be really aggressive. Ogre last split was just a really decent jungler, being extremely aggressive, playing gods like Kali, Ao Kwang, and constantly diving the backline. And on the Nike, you actually have even more of a case since you have that ultimate to like basically double your health.
Exactly right. It speaks a lot to his play style as well. Those previous guys. You picked Chuckles there with the Sunder. There's the ultimate, stuns out Gruff. Swifty jumps away. Zachariah though dives onto Weave in the backline. Yada comes crashing down, but he's caught with a stun from Swifty. Ultimate comes out from Divine, but it's not enough to secure a kill yet. And Swifty's going to be able to run away. Divine taking a lot of damage here. Kepler revive used on him. He's popped back to safety from Weave. Kraken from Shred gets a double kill. Chuckles and Yada both fall down. And now Daddy Daycare want more blood. Divine is slowed. Divine needs to dash away. He doesn't have the mana though. Good pluck from Weave, good slow from Limits, but only good at solo, gets the kill, and Weave meditates, but it's not going to be enough to save his life. Zach die at the tower, the Big Baby picks up the kill. 4 members of Legacy in the ground.
I think the most important thing to speak of is Zach currently tied for most number of kills. Zach is just doing a really decent job this game. He not only shot down El Chuckles, but as soon as he realized that had happened, he started rotating immediately and had a really important effect on these team fights. He's been doing a really nice job of both getting the Umbrella rank and just diving the towers when he needs to use that Big Baby form and using the Umbrella rank to his advantage.
Yeah, while last game he played the tier who we know he's comfortable with, it seems like he's even more comfortable with this Vamana. We do have to mention Zachariah is new to the solo, and this is his first bit of competitive play as well. So this is really the first time we've been able to see over a long period of time what Zach can do. Previously he subbed in, but it's been in the jungle role. Is Yada actually trying to attack him here, but the Whirlpool comes out from Shred, and Yada looks like he might pay for this one with the minions, but Zach and Shred keep themselves alive. Yada gets back to his tower. As I was saying though, Zachariah has only been in the jungle before we've seen him in competitive play, so he is learning the solo role. He is getting better and better every week, and he's one of these players that's had kind of a lot of hype around how much skill he has, but its skill is only one factor of playing in the OPL. It's also, you know, your mental abilities as well.
And speaking of mental ability, it looks like actually that Zach is already building into the Frostbound Hammer, a really decent item of Vermont. It could also lead straight away into the Fatale. So in that Big Baby form, you do have AoE auto attacks, so it just means he's going to be slowing in a circle rather than just a single target.
It's a kind of core pickup on Vermont, because not only does it allow you to slow the enemy team, but it allows you, importantly, to keep up with them when you're in that ultimate form and allow you to apply consistent damage.
And speaking of consistent damage, Daddy Daycare actually starting up this gold period. They should probably leash as Legacy are in the area looking for something. A grab from Gruff not able to connect.
Divine's decent, on not a whole lot of health here in this fight. Ogre, though, might be overextending, forced to burn his purification beads. Ultimate through from Divine that doesn't land onto his target. Ogre, very low here, does have the sustain from Gruff if he needs it. He does have his ultimate available as well. Yada's up in the sky. Yada looking for a target. Who's it going to be? It's going to be only good at solo. Good ultimate there from Gruff. Sunbreaker comes through. Kraken as well. Limits, though, picks up Ogre. Divine was resuscitated there by Weave, but Zach's in the backline. Zach picks up Divine, and Swifty managed to get out on the barest amounts of health. So a 2-for-1 trade there in favor. Sorry, a 1-for-1 trade there between the teams. But ultimately in favor of Legacy as they're able to pick up the Oracle Harpies, and they might even be able to get the Gold Fury.
Both Zach, Gruff, and Shredder all in the area and actually steal away the Gold Fury.
Wow, I don't even know how they stole that one there. I think it was with the Umbrella Ring from Zachariah. Now Zachariah chasing down Weave and Yada, but unable to find either of them. Just looking at the level difference between these players on the different on both teams here, only Limits is ahead of his counterpart on Legacy.
Limits has been doing a really consistent job in both games. He's always constantly farming, and usually we see him rotate around the mid game, and he's been doing that this game as well as last week. Limits just a really consistent player. Having a look at the graphs, though, we do see a graph slowly ticking up with 7,000 experience and 6,000 gold. And Legacy so far, I haven't seen really much of a response this game compared to last game.
Exactly right. Last game they were really able to counter effectively what Daddy Daycare was trying to do to them. And I think a lot of that actually has to do with the Zeus pick. The Zeus pick was a really big area damage that Divine could influence a lot of a team fight with. With Thoth, it's a little bit more single target. Yes, you do have the ability to hit multiple gods with your abilities, but it's a lot harder than on a Thoth than it is on a Zeus.
Not only that as well, I just feel like the design picker has been doing so much more than the Ra. The Ra, they built heavily utility, and when they went that heavily utility, they lost a lot of the damage that Shred is now bringing this game. Having a look at the player damage charts, he may be sitting around the bottom, but those Krakens in every single team fight have been on the mark, while Divine hasn't really connected many of the final judgments.
Exactly right, and again, it's the comparison of Thoth to Zeus. You know, the Zeus is a lot more easier damage to connect, whereas the Thoth, it requires a little bit more skill. Not that Divine's an unskilled player by any means, but it just means that he isn't landing as many abilities onto as many targets as he did last game.
Not to mention as well, they've just been doing a really nice job on Daddy Daycare, actually zoning away Divine, or whenever he is getting revived, just going into the backline and making sure he's finished off. He may have a long-range dash, but Daddy Daycare, they have the speed to catch up to him.
Yada chased under his own tower. He does manage to get up into the sky with the Anvil of Dawn. Chuckles doesn't get a stun down. Oh, actually, he does onto two members. Limit's doing damage. Yada didn't go in there. Wise choice, because Shred would have just crackened him as soon as he landed. But Daddy Daycare, they force away Legacy Esports from this Tier 1 tower. They're going to be able to take this one, boosting their golden experience advantage even further on. Could look to invade the jungle or just simply go for this Tier 2 tower.
They can just go straight for this Tier 2. Not only do they have the Poseidon tier, but they have everyone backing them up. But instead, 5 members are up on Daddy Daycare, actually on Legacy, sorry. And Daddy Daycare, they actually know they're looking to engage. Double
tap onto Gruff. Kraken comes through from Shred. Divine, though, does manage to pick up Gruff, so there's a lot of sustain down for Daddy Daycare. Zachariah in the big baby form. Ultimate from Swifty doesn't land onto anyone from Legacy, so Legacy successfully managed to hold this Tier 2 tower. Nice double tap there from Swifty onto Yada. Nonetheless, though, Legacy now looking to chase down Daddy Daycare. Yada looking for a wall into Swifty, doesn't manage to land it, and there's no follow-up anyway. Zachariah caught out now, spin to win from Yada. The stun doesn't land from Swifty, but not enough damage from Yada onto a target 5 levels above him. Divine, though, might be looking to go forward. Divine dashes forward, lands the stun. Shred not stunned out here as he uses Purification Beads and Aegis to great effect. He might fall down under the tower, though. No, he won't. Swifty jumps away. Yada diving too hard here, lands the wall. Great knock up there from Only Good at Solo. Kepi revive on the wrong target from Weave. Divine, double kill there for Legacy Esports. Their mid laner, Divine, he's showing his skill. He's showing his worth.
Divine, they're just using the Glyph Plane really nicely, not only for positioning, but getting off that additional bit of damage and range, and able to catch up to a lot of people who actually possibly could have gotten away there. Yada, just 2 lower levels, only level 11 compared to the rest of the team, and Daddy Daycare, they have a very tanky lineup, so it really is up to Divine to start shredding these targets.
Alrighty, take a look at our graphs after that last one. Still in favor of Daddy Daycare, 4,000 experience, 4,000 gold, but still, Legacy Esports starting to come back into this one. Should Daddy Daycare be nervous, Lynx?
I don't think Daddy Daycare should be nervous. It's really what we saw there was the fact is they stayed a little bit too long. And we saw also what happened when Gruff wasn't there. Gruff is really even more of a linchpin, in my opinion, than the Poseidon on their team. He's providing so much sustain, and kind of when he disappears, they lose a lot of not only the CC, but the protections that they would have gotten from him and the tankiness.
We're nearing the 20-minute mark now. Both these teams are doing decently well in team fights, I want to say, but as you mentioned, once that Sylvanas goes to Daddy Daycare, it tends to fall apart because they're really relying on that sustain for themselves. We saw how they were basically getting dived at Phoenix when Gruff died at the enemy's tier 2 tower. So that speaks volumes there. And for me, in that fight, what also was really big was Divine landed his stun onto multiple targets every time. And that is a huge amount of CC. It's a huge amount of damage he's then guaranteed to hit as well.
Yeah, he's already building into the Book of Oath on both, which, haha, that's a really funny joke. But he's able to already output quite a decent amount of damage, even though he's only starting his 4th item just now, which will probably be the Obsidian Shard.
I would expect so, and it actually can only be so. Yada up into the sky, trying to pick a target here, but Daddy Daycare spreading effectively, keeping themselves out of range, and Yada forced to come straight back down.
And now, Legacy, they just kind of lost. They're just currently surrounding the Gold Fury, but I don't think Legacy have a full plan. Daddy Daycare just having a really good lockdown of the situation, and as well as with that general isolation on Poseidon, it makes it so much harder for those mobility gods to actually use their mobility to their advantage.
Gruff went for a blind pull through the wall there just to try and find anyone out of position he could. Divine, trying to get us some poke damage, does successfully get some down onto Gruff and Zachariah, the two tankiest members of Daddy Daycare. Not going to worry about that too much. Daddy Daycare just poking around this Gold Fury. Again, we see both these teams hanging around these objectives, but not looking to split push at all, not looking to force anything anywhere else. We see, Legacy, again, are the first ones to recognize this. Divine goes to the left-hand side, pushes away. Yada went to mid to try and push away, but Ogre's going to beat him to it. So still, nothing really doing for both these teams. Is Weave, though, pulled in, going to be able to dash away.
Yeah, without Shred there to slow him down, he just rolled away just then. However, Zach now actually diving pretty deep against Alto, just doing a bit of a beatdown, and now the Gold Fury finally actually getting started up.
Yeah, Divine's not here. They recognize that he backed, so there's not a whole lot of steal potential from Legacy Esports. Even still, though, there's not a big amount they can do with a team fight. Good ultimate from Gruff. Here's the dazzling offensive from Chuckles. They catch Gruff out. They stun him again with the wall. Zachariah just forcing away all of the damage, though, from Legacy Esports. Divine looking to charge up that final judgment to potentially go for a steal or burst down a carry here. Not going to execute that ultimate. Zachariah under 50% HP, but the sustain from Sylvanas is going to keep him healthy.
Oh, the Legacy, they really want to go in now, and a nice ball.
Oh my goodness. Zachariah bursts it down. Swifty, though, picks up Weave. Yada into the sky. Chuckles taking a lot of damage. He needs to be careful. Swifty has got himself a double kill. He's going to look for the triple as he's diving to Yada. Actually, he backflips. He jumps away, looking for the ricochet. Doesn't find it. Ogre over the wall, though, will pick up his opposite number. And now Daddy Daycare could search for the Gold Fury. Divine, though. Divine, what are you doing here? He dashes through towards the Gold Fury. That's not the direction you want to go.
Nope, and the Hu-Yi stun coming from the Ricochet will actually, no, Gruff, sorry. Will be the one that thought the damage from Hu-Yi, but nope, when your Sylvanas gets the kills, it's always like just a minor little psychological victory.
Gold Fury going to be pretty free here for Daddy Daycare. Now we're seeing that Golden Experience lead really start to shoot up. This is, we saw last game that they got a bit of an advantage over Legacy, and the Legacy were able to bring this back. This game, it is not the case. They're establishing a solid lead, a little bit of a dip, but they recovered very nicely from that.
I think the most important thing to look at is just looking at who's getting the kills. Like, it's only iDivine really getting the kills. Like, he's setting up all this stuff in the team fights, but everyone else is such low levels or just not able to help him out in the team fights that Daddy Daycare just picking them off one by one, and iDivine's just kind of standing there without anyone to protect him. Yeah,
for me, the biggest thing has been Yada's Thor ults. I've seen them be used defensively, or I've seen them used and not land on a target effectively, or not set up with iDivine's ultimate. That's really what he needs to be looking to do. He's had some nice walls, and he's kept some targets in range for his carries to get the kills, but the ultimates just haven't been on point in this game.
And I feel like he's almost, and basically either decision is wrong. He can try and use the Thor ultimate onto Poseidon or Sylvanas or one of these targets and then get CC to death immediately. Or he can try and play it a bit more defensively, but then not really use his ultimate to the full advantage. He's been outdrafted.
Fire Giant being watered up by Legacy Esports, making sure they have the vision control over that area, because at this stage of the game, it is a possibility for Daddy Daycare to try and burst that down.
Yeah, if they really wanted, they could probably just go for it, especially since they could use Ogre. They can use many different of the either warriors or supports just zone away. Legacy, they just haven't been able to find an avenue to get into the backline, and if they do, it's been very, very rare after a couple minutes of fighting. So Daddy DK just keeping an eye on the Spider Giant, possibly even going straight for this portal demon.
Yeah, and I really like this call out of them, not looking to go for the major objective. Yada, up in the sky, looking for a target. Needs to land a big ultimate here. Manages to get 2 targets, only Zach and Groff though, and now Yada's getting bursted down himself. Kepri revive used. Chuckles though does successfully dive the backline. He takes out Swifty and keeps Shred out of the fight there. Final Judgment lands onto Shred as well. Sprint popped by Daddy Daycare as they retreat from the fight. So this should be Legacy Portal Demon for free.
Now with the Sunbreaker out of the picture, there's no slow, there's no massive area effect, and that's just one slot less ultimate they have to deal with. And Legacy, they could possibly just look to back immediately, buy some items, or just heal up and just go straight through the portal again, and then go straight for the Fire Giant.
I don't know if they'll go for the Fire Giant necessarily, but they could look to continue pressuring this side of the map, pressuring down the right-hand side tier 1 tower.
And now Daddy Daycare, they're actually just grouping around the portal. They kind of expecting Legacy to go through, but Legacy actually coming from behind.
Gruff, 4-man ulti there. Very nice work from the support player. He's very low though, and Chuckles picks him up with the dazzling offensive. He stuns out Shred as well. Ogre jumps out of the wall away. Wall doesn't land from Yada. Legacy Esports, they've taken out the big tank for Daddy Daycare, and we saw how Daddy Daycare fell apart in the last game when they were without their support player.
And now Legacy, instead of going for the Fire Giant, they're playing a much safer game and going actually for the tier 1 and possibly even the tier 2. They know that they can't actually take it right now, but they can very easily take objectives and limits now at level 17.
So much damage there from Ardavan onto so many people. He's really starting to come online now in terms of his damage, and he's spreading it around effectively to poke out as many targets as possible. He recognizes there's not a whole lot of sustain coming out at the moment since there is no Sylvanas to heal up the team. So if he could poke multiple members out, they aren't going to be as healthy going into this fight. Bigger potential to take down more than one target.
Yeah, and not to mention, it's just such a massive range as well. The Glyph of Pain just making it so hard to lock down Ardavan as he's firing from range. And all really Daddy Daycare can do is just try and not go into these narrow corridors. They make it so much easier for Divine if they actually go into these choke points like near the speed and blue buff.
Ogre taking a fair bit of poke from the Fire Giant here. Yada, 2-man wall. Swifty takes a lot of damage as he was sundered there by Chuckles, forced to run away. Whirlpool comes through from Shred. Really good Whirlpool there. That caught Chuckles mid-dash.
And now Legacy, they actually have a Frenzy Ritual on Weave. If they want to start off this Fire Giant, they can very easily do so. And it looks like Daddy Daycare, they don't have much of a response.
Shred going around the left-hand side. Limits jumps through the wall, actually. Up into the sky goes Yada. Weave misses his block onto Shred, but he forces out the Purification Beads. Yada crashes down onto Shred. Great Whirlpool, great Kraken from Shred. But Shred is forced out by Limits. Kepler Revive used onto Yada. Yada, though, manages to escape away before getting brought back to life by Weave. So the Legacy Esports clawing their way back into this game.
They pull their way back into this game, but now what are they going to do? It looks like they're going to start the Fire Giant as only the 3 tanks remain, and they don't have, except they do have the we actually do have Swifty, who just came back with the Sunbreaker, but he won't be there for like another 10 seconds. Legacy, though, know that they can't finally take this. They have to back off, otherwise Swifty is going to clean them up.
Yeah, nowhere near enough damage on the board at this stage for them to be able to burst that one down before Daddy Daycare could get there for a response. Maybe if they got the Portal Demon back to board and then came through, they might be able to do something. But given that they'd already taken that objective and it was down, no chance for them there to really do anything.
They possibly just needed Weave to pop that Frenzy Ritual as soon as they started the Fire Giant. If that was popped, that could have allowed just enough damage to be able to take off that Fire Giant and scrape it away in the nick of time.
Let's take a look at our graphs now. 3,000 experience, 4,600 gold in favor of Daddy Daycare still, but a lot less than about 5 minutes ago when they're up by 6,000 in both columns.
Well, now the kill lead as well as... Actually, I don't think Daddy Daycare have been able to get a kill in the last 5 minutes, while Legacy slowly building up those kills, especially picking off Gruff as well. Just Gruff especially, and Swifty, they've been able to get some nice kills on. Daddy Daycare, though, take away the Gold Fury, even though Legacy try to contest.
Divine diving through there, gets the stun off, misses the final judgment as Swifty jumps over the top. Kraken is good from Shred. Limits looking to do some damage here, but the Sunbreaker does so much damage to that Izanami. Limits bursted down by Zachariah. Chuckles in a bit of danger here, but it's Shred who's going to fall down first if Weave can get the damage. Divine, though, is the one that picks up the kill. Divine taken low, Swifty picks up Yada. Divine low again, Swifty gets a double diving across the wall for the kill. Ogre doing so much damage here to Chuckles, who manages just barely to jump away.
And now Daddy Daycare with 3 members down, a Kefri and a Amaterasu remaining. This is the exact opportunity they were looking for, and Daddy Daycare can go straight for the Fire Giant.
Yeah, next to no contestation available here from Legacy. It's very unlikely a Kefri is going to steal the Fire Giant unless you really mess up. And Amaterasu a little bit more, and especially with the Amaterasu, what she can do is disrupt you. But again, though, Legacy can easily turn. Chuckles misses the Sunder there. Chuckles takes a lot of damage. Chuckles already under 50% HP. Kefri revive used perhaps a little bit too early. It is going to give Chuckles the movement speed necessary to get away, however, but it means that everyone can now turn on Weave, who's out of mana and very soon needs to be out of health. He is, and now he falls down. However, this delay might have been enough for Legacy to be able to get through and contest this Fire Giant.
Yada does not have ultimate, and he's going to be running as fast as he can, just using that movement speed from the Warrior Tabe to get back to the Spy Giant. Able to make it there in time, but Zac is there to try and defend.
Yada knocked up. Yada, oh, nearly put in the ground there, but manages to teleport away without Mjolnir's attunement. Fire Giant under 25% HP. Cracker comes through from Shred. Daddy Daycare take the Fire Giant. Chuckles slowed here by Shred. Great 3-man knockup from Gruff. Great damage coming through from the side of Daddy Daycare. Ogre picks up one, Swifty picks up Chuckles, and now Zachariah and the rest of the squad hunting for more blood of Legacy down this right-hand side. They're going to pick up the tier 2 tower, and they're looking for limits. They're looking for more blood.
And Yada trying to use that envelope, they use the Mjolnir's attunement there, but not able to even get a single double tap, as now Daddy Daycare are just zooming down the solo lane. They have the Fire Giant buff, they have Sylvanas heals, and they are going straight for the Phoenix, not even caring about Yada or Weave, who do pitiful amounts of damage.
Not only does Daddy Daycare now have the sustain for Fire Giant, but they've also got their Sylvanas sustain here as well, so they're going to be able to be relatively healthy when they take this tier 2 tower in the mid lane, and then look for the middle Phoenix as well.
Well, first they have to take the tier 2, but they should easily be able to go straight for that Phoenix, even though we do see Divine Shackles as well as Limit's going to be up in under 10 seconds. Actually, Daddy Daycare, they're just choosing to back up. They've taken a tier 2, they've taken a Phoenix. They are very happy with what they've been able to achieve.
I love this. I love that they're taking the Portal Demon here rather than continuing to push too hard. What they can do now is they can back by, come straight through that Portal Demon, and then look to push down the middle Phoenix with next to no downtime, I should say.
And now we even see the Sylvanas actually picking up a Shield of Regrowth as most of the members on Daddy Daycare finishing off their last sort of items. Nike picking up a Mantle of Discord. We see Time's Bane for the Hui to finish off a pen-heavy build. And we even see a Spirit Road coming onto the Vermont just to give it a little bit more tankiness and CCR. There is very little Legacy can do right now other than try their best to stay under tower and defend.
Exactly right. They really need to group up as 5 to try and defend these Phoenixes. I doubt they can defend the tier 2 tower on the left-hand side. Really need to be focused on defending these Phoenixes and keeping the fire minions in the right-hand side pushed up.
Luckily, they do have Eye Divine. He was level 18. He should be able to push them back. But while all that's going on, they're just getting themselves a free tier 2. Legacy not even choosing to contest, which is probably the right play, but it still means no more towers remain, and only 2 Phoenix keep them away from the Titan.
Alright, it looks like Daddy Daycare going to push the left-hand side Phoenix first. I love what Shred's doing here, though, pushing the minion wave up in the middle lane, keeping pressure equally around the map, so once they take down the left-hand Phoenix, they can look for the middle one.
Yes, and now it looks like they're just kind of grouping around near that XP camp at the back, and they just need to find a target. They do not have a blinker, and so it's going to be possible to just Ogre to jump in there and use that ultimate.
Alright, Gruff gets a nice knock up there. Chuckles takes a lot of damage. Yada already dead in this fight. No chance for the Thor to do anything. Zachariah in the big baby form. Sunder not on the mark for Chuckles, or at least not on a target that counts here. Here's the dazzling offensive from Chuckles to stop the aggression from Daddy Daycare. Only catches out Gruff. The rest of the team, though, doing what they want. Ogre diving the tower with the help of that Nike ultimate. Frenzied Ritual popped as well. So Daddy Daycare really committing to this Phoenix.
They look like they were going to commit, but currently they're just kind of walking around, and the Frenzy Ritual not actually providing much of a help. 5 minutes, however, from the solo lane are still pouring in, and it looks like Legacy are getting a little bit frazzled now. Daddy Daycare, as soon as they realize that wave is there, pressure the mid Phoenix as well.
Yeah, mid Phoenix is dead. Now they can look for the left-hand side one. Minions are already here for them, but they still have sustain from Sylvanas and the Fire Giant to keep them healthy anyway. Shred takes a lot of damage from Divine through the wall. However, Weave pulled in. Weave plucks Gruff back in return. Kraken comes through. Weave takes a lot of damage. Frenzied Ritual popped on the side of Legacy now. Yada hits his ult. Yada gets himself a double kill now. Excellent work for the jungler from Legacy. Chuckles trying to start out Swifty before he falls down. Wall doesn't hit from Yada. Yada falls down to Swifty. Swifty's got himself a double. Ogre picks up Divine. It's only Limits and Weave left alive, and Daddy Daycare looking for the left-hand side Phoenix.
And it's not even going to be a question whether they get it or not as they push right on through. And now a reverse of fortune for Daddy Daycare as they're now looking to finish off this Titan in game number 2.
Yeah, it's easy win there at the end for Daddy Daycare, but a close contest overall.
And with that, Daddy Daycare, they actually learnt a lot from that first game. They had the CC, they had the burst damage, and they took it to Legacy. They actually provided the pressure that they needed.
Exactly right. They didn't. Legacy started to come back into that game, but Daddy Daycare, they knew what they needed to do. They stuck to their game plan. They stuck to their guns, and in the end, were able to take away that victory. Very nice performances out of both Swifty and Zachariah there. Two of the, I mean, I want to say younger players on this team. They're all young except for Gruff. He's the only one on their roster over 18, I believe. But two of the younger players and less experienced players on this roster. Very nice work for both of them in the side lanes. All right, so that's going to do it for our first set for the day. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with our second set, Direwolves taking on Avant-Garde. Yeah, I'm relogging.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna
Alrighty, guys, here we are, our second set of the day, Avant-Garde taking on the Direwolves. Now, this is a different Avant roster than probably what you're used to. A new team acquired prior to the beginning of this split. So a few veteran names in there that you recognize when we get into the game. But the Direwolves is the same squad that represented Oceania at Worlds. However, Richard Castle is away for this week, so Maxon, their sub, will be taking his place in this first set. Ratatoska, our first ban from Avant-Garde.
Yep, they do not want to give Ro that Ratatoska. They just want to deny any sort of early pressure. And if we know Direwolves, they are going to be aggressive as all hell.
Kepri banned by Direwolves. Thanatos taken away by Avant. So again, taking away aggressive picks from the Direwolves. Thanatos, it's really becoming a standard ban. And from a pick that went to very off-meta, very niche pick, it's really heading towards the top tier with a change to Shield of Regrowth. Zeus taken away by the Direwolves, and now Avant, their first pick option is open.
They actually have still quite a lot of options. Thoth is definitely one of them, but instead they opt in for the Izanami. They want that easy duo lane, or currently what seems to be actually a more solid lane with the duo lane brand, basically.
Yeah, exactly right. ADC spending a lot more time alone than they have with their supports recently. Izanami's got a lot of wave pressure, so it's going to allow her to be in that wave by herself a lot more easily than other ADCs might. Cabrakan and the Hercules are locked in here for the Direwolves, and that's going to be a Cabrakan jungle for Ro and a Hercules solo for Kiki Omeo. No real two ways about it with this team. Ro loves himself Cabrakan. He loves how tanky he can be, and yet how absolutely aggressive and bursty he can be with that character.
Well, speaking of early pressure, you can literally start with Boomba's tier 2 boots and finish your pen boots by about 2 minutes into the game and start roaming around the map. Cabrakan just has terrifying presence, and if he picks up a blink rate or even just runs at you, there's very little you can do but Poseidon trying to slow him down.
And a Shark picked up as well for Avant-Garde. So this is a pick that Elkiro is very familiar with, something he's played a lot, something he's just very comfortable with. And going into an unfamiliar lane matchup against the Hercules and against the player himself, Kiki Omeo, they just want to put Elkiro on something he's comfortable with. I'd like the Poseidon pick coming out from Just Speedy. It's something he can do a lot of burst damage with and have a lot of control with. Thoth now picked up for the Direwolves in the hands of Ochita. And there's a god I don't want a cheater to have. It's Thoth. Just so much damage coming up from him. And it's something you need to hit all of your skills with. And Ochita, a very mechanically skilled player.
But not only so much damage, you then have the Cabrakan wall to just keep them in that nice little enclosed space to allow Thoth to really easily hit that ultimate. And Poseidon, there is no way he's getting out, even with some auto attacks. Izanami and Shark, they have ways to teleport away. But Thoth, he is going to be looking to kill Poseidon over and over and over again.
All right, Sylvanas Odin taken away by the Direwolves. Ram banned by Avant-Garde, final ban option with them. I do like the Odin takeaway by the Direwolves. All of their team at the moment can be kept in that cage. Very, very potent with the Poseidon as well. Arnher taken away by Avant-Garde. So looking to restrict the god pool of the new ADC for the Direwolves, HS247, now known as Mingyu. So Mingyu's taken over for Max and who's moved into the sub role to keep up with his school commitments. Now, we are still very privileged though to see him here on the OPL stage.
Yeah, and speaking of Mingyu, he was an amazing ADC last split. He was kind of held a tiny bit back in the later parts of the split, but we saw some really good performances come out from him on gods like Ram, Hu Yi, and almost kind of overshadowed Rob Diggity when he was on Avant when they were versing each other. So it was really nice to see Mingyu come out from going from a jungle role to that ADC role.
And Amaterasu now picked up for the Direwolves, so double warrior composition for them is Barkas and Fenrir picked up by Avant. I'm expecting that to be probably an Amaterasu support. It could be a Cabrakan support if Maxon is playing support, because Cabrakan is something he's familiar with, having played jungle previously. It could also be Amaterasu. I would doubt it's Hercules, but Amaterasu is something that he has played a fair bit before. All going to be picked up now to round out the Direwolves composition.
I feel like for this roster, it's most likely going to have to be that armor, just because I feel like you can get so much more potential out of Cabrakan once you put him in the jungle, especially on Ro, a mechanically skilled god similar to Ochita. They can do quite a lot of pressure with that, while I feel like Amaterasu, even as a support, she has a lot of teamfight presence just with those auras alone, so it just makes it a little bit easier for both Cabrakan and Armor to be in those roles respectively.
All right, heading into game now. What I do like from the side of Avant-Garde is the amount of CC they have, and where that's really going to impact the Direwolves is with Mingyu. He doesn't have any CC immunity in his kit, and a lot of his stuff is affected by CC, including his jump and whatnot. So that really needs to be a priority target for Avantgarde is look to pick out this Ula when he's out of position. Get him with the Whirlpool Kraken combo or the Fenrir ultimate into Kraken. Basically, the Fenrir ult needs to be coming out onto Mingyu, and then once that's forced, you can Barkus belly flop, or you can do a number of things, or you can belly flop to force the beads and then pick him up with the Fenrir ult. But the important thing for Avant is to focus this all.
Well, not only do they have all that, they also have the silence that is an army as well. So just in case you think Mingyu can get away, they have some sort of other way. And looking over in the door lane already, Mingyu getting a little bit of pressure onto Zaze as he throws out a couple of auto attacks just to kind of send her away. And Maxon actually joining him in the door lane as well for a double door lane. This is actually something we haven't seen. Both door lanes are actually now a door lane.
Yeah, and a lot of damage put down onto Mingyu there. Maxon taking a fair bit of poke as well. Zay's able to hit both targets with his auto attacks. Very unique to Izanami as an ADC, but overall, pretty even trade between these two teams here. And as you mentioned, the first time we're really seeing two people start in the side lanes, while in the mid lane, it's a 1v1 between the Cheetah and Just Speedy.
And now, Mingyu actually getting a really nice bladed arrow to both Zaze and Tomolomi, getting them actually quite low, but that will mean he will not have that for lane clear, and it's going to be up to Maxon to use the Heavenly Reflection to kind of bring it back.
And that's all right. That's perfectly okay for these teams, and I really like that coming out of Direwolves. It really splits the wave pressure. It means Mingyu doesn't need to use all of his abilities on wave clear, and we know Ul is a very mana-intensive character, so that split between the teams, between the characters in the duo lane, is very, very smart by the Direwolves.
Not to mention they also have that Amateur actually over in the in the Soda lane. A nice invade from Direwolves actually getting 2 kills off the bat.
That was poor communication by Avantgarde. Ochita rotated to that side. Speedy clearly saw him do it, but the rest of his team, everybody didn't know that, or if they did, they ignored what he was saying, and Ochita was able to get a nice stun, and then the CC and damage coming through from Ro and Kiki Amir, enough to finish the job. Both buffs going to fall the way of the Direwolves as well, so they win in kills and they win in farm.
Well, now they're also invading the red buff as well. This is a very similar style we saw of Direwolves last week, but Tomolomi getting a nice belly flop onto Maxon.
Yeah, Maxon will have his dash up in a few seconds, so he should be able to get away from this one. Use that Heavenly Reflection to mitigate some of the damage away, so that contributed to his survival as well. But overall, the movement speed buff he gets from his one, very, very important for that Amaterasu.
And now it's just back to Direwolves, both putting a lot of pressure. The Bark is helping out Just Speedy, who's only level 2 currently, actually get his red buff, and he's finally hit level 3 as well. A really nice aggressive start from Direwolves to actually get this game going.
Oh, Zaze took a bit of poke damage over on the left-hand side. Gonna be okay, though. Maxon really testing the limits of what he can do here, diving forward directly at Zaze while Tomolomi was still in the area.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Maxon playing the support role of all things, because the last split he was playing as the main ADC. So going from a role all about farming that squishy glass cannon in the backline to going completely full front is a bit of a massive shift, probably one of the biggest ones you can get in SMITE.
Well, I mean, he would know what the support role is all about, having laned with Richard Castle, so he would have learnt from one of the best in OCE about how to operate in that role. And, last season, the duo lane was a lot more closely aligned than it is now, so he would have had a chance to see Richard strutting his stuff.
Oracle Harp is now actually secured by Avantgarde. There's Zaze and Tomolomi just doing it by themselves, instead for actually Direwolves opting to just get that lane pressure and force the wave under tower.
5 minions are up here. Or I should say the early camps up for the Direwolves to take here. No real contest coming out from Avantgarde. Direwolves able to take that one away. Already establishing them a fair lead here. 1,700 gold. 1,000 experience. It was 1,700 experience and 600 gold. So not too much of a lead, but it's the kind of thing that is the kind of lead you can't give the Direwolves. You can't. What they tend to do in Oceania, and this is really how Ro and Ochita have been able to be as dominant as they have for so long, is they defeat you all around the map, and they take away your farm, and they strangle you from being able to get a victory.
And now that they've strangled them as well, they do have those timers. However, over in the solo lane, Rob Diggity, not level 5, not exactly have the Ragnarok, but he's still trying to apply a little bit of pressure to Kiki Omio.
That's fine for Kiki. He's got that tremendous Hercules heal. Rob Diggity's not even level 5 yet, so Kiki doesn't even need to worry about potentially burning his ultimate. So Kiki more than happy to take the poke damage there as actually picks up Elkiro. Elkiro taking a lot of damage here from Ro. The axe comes through. Boulder denied by Ro's own wall there. So Kiki, very unfortunate, not able to get the kill.
And now Ivana completely turning on the blue. A Kraken comes down.
Oh, Speedy. Speedy just managing to get away there. Barely the final judgment comes through, but it's not enough damage just yet. Rob jumping away. Maxon might look to die for the kill here. Heavenly Reflection just off the mark, so no kills there for the Direwolves, but they are successfully able to invade the blue buff, and now they're looking for the speed buff once again.
This is the second time they've been able to get full timers, and Ochita now just going back to the mid lane to put pressure on that lane as well. They just have full control over the map. Having a look at net worth, it's extremely apparent. Almost every single person on Direwolves is currently ahead, except for Just Speed, who's just been able to barely keep alive. And now they're rotating over to actually pick up Zaze, or just steal away this Void Camp instead. And Zaze, he can't even do much to contest, he's already half health.
Exactly right, and this is what I was speaking to before. You know, Dials may not have got kills in that fight, but they took advantage of getting the pressure. Speedy take it very low here, a lot of damage, and Rose the one that picks up the kill. Intoxicate comes through from Tomolomu, but he doesn't have enough mana to get himself away now. His jump's on cooldown as well, not enough damage from the Dials yet though to get the kill. However, they should be able to take away this red buff.
And that is all four major buffs, actually sorry, all three major buffs just taken away. Not to mention as well some of the elementals. Rob Diggity though trying to steal the buff, but to no avail whatsoever, just trapped in the walls.
Exactly right, and Direwolves, they're really showing they know how to utilize their team comp to its full effectiveness. Now we can see the leads jumped out to 3,000 experience, 1,800 gold.
And then we look back to the network. You know, I mentioned earlier just Speedy was kind of holding in. The only person he's slightly ahead of is their support max, and actually that literally just changed this instant. So now I've completely behind, and Zaze even getting pressure now in the drill, and Tomolomu trying to provide some help, but it's not really doing too much.
Exactly right, Maxon die in the tower, Dazzling Offensive comes through, Zaze manages to beat that one okay, Maxon dies to the belly flopper tower shot combination, Mingyu in a lot of trouble here as well, 5 men of Avant needed to take out 2 from Direwolves.
And the rest of Direwolves, they're not really there to help, they're just around the map grabbing their own buffs, which they've been also grabbing on cooldown as well. And the only thing Vanguard really been able to secure for themselves is these Oracle Heartbeats, but other than that, every other part of their jungle is completely belonging to Direwolves right now.
Alrighty, graphs still very similar to what they were just before. Left-hand side camp's going to fall the way of the Direwolves. They've been very much in charge of this jungle control. Speedy actually, they managed to steal one away with the tidal surge.
Even though he's able to steal one away, that's just a nice little bit. Just being able to, one, get the timers as well as steal a bit of XP is something Avant really needs to do, because currently they've just been letting Direwolves just completely roll over them, and if they don't do something very soon, Direwolves will just eventually get full control and the snowball will not stop.
Rob Diggity managed to jump away from the pressure of a cheater and row there as he takes away the right-hand side camp. So positive signs still from Avant. They are contesting these neutral camps. What they need to do now is get the timers back onto their own buffs, contest them, and make sure that they can secure them from the Direwolves. Right-hand side, Row and Kikimio team up for a kill onto El Kiro. And again, though, this opens up their buffs for Invade.
Not only that as well, Shark is a very early game focused god. He can clear waves early on, but once he gets to that mid to late game, his damage falls off. And actually, sorry, over in the duo lane as well, Mingyu actually soloing Zaze, using that lifesteal from his axes to provide a little bit of extra sustain that he normally wouldn't have.
Needs to be careful though. Rob Diggity is creeping around behind, waiting for the minion maze to meet here. Mingyu using his skills all on the wave. He spots out Rob Diggity, jumps over the stun from Rob. There's the Fenrir ultimate, the Ragnarok through. Mingyu nowhere to run. Actually gets the axe off Rob Diggity though, picks up the kill. Might die to minions, though he won't. Maxon's here though to finish off the job for his duo lane partner.
Yeah, Maxon just getting a little bit of a revenge kill there, just popping the Heavenly Reflection as soon as possible. And over on the other side, speed buff being taken away. And this is what I love about Direwolves. Literally every second, I'm seeing one different thing happening over the map, constantly switching between lanes. And last game, we kind of saw Daddy Daycare and Legacy. They were kind of just holding back. This game, Direwolves, they're just giving not a single inch, and they are constantly putting the pressure on every single side.
Knockup from Tomolomu doesn't land. Maxon, though, takes a lot of damage from the Kraken, does manage to dash away. Good beats from Ochita, though, saved his life there pretty much. Tomolomu taking a lot of damage from Rogue. Gosh, Kraken can...
Well, he's already got a Shoes the Magi building possibly into the Dynasty Playhammer as well. He is just looking at Chunk, having a look at the player down, which we do see Kraken is in that top 5. Currently with Mingyu actually doing a lot of play damage, just using the Bluestone and as well as his many abilities of all to really put the hurt onto Zaze.
Yeah, now Mingyu looking to take another 1v1. Slow misses from Zaze. Fighting the 1v1. Mingyu jumps back to his tower. Doesn't want to take that engagement, especially with minions pressuring his tower.
Well, not only that as well, he currently, the only way he can actually heal any sort of lifesteal sustain comes through when he goes into melee form. He doesn't have the Death Tolls, right, or an RC to speak of currently, but he can look to go in now as there's a full mini wave on his side as he leaps forward.
Oh, Dark Portal comes through, silences Mingyu. Both of them going at each other here. Otto's going to land. Zaze gets the kill. The Archers finishes off Mingyu, however, a 1-for-1 trade. Zaze, though, gets the initial kill there, so he's going to claim that 1v1. Speedy, stunned out, walled in, knocked up is a member of Direwolves. Speedy going to be able to get away? Doesn't have his Kraken online yet. Ochita does have the final judgment if they can find a good engagement. Good Ragnarok here from Rogdini, drives Maxon under tower. Nowhere for Maxon to go, so good kill there for the Direwolves. Ochita, final judgment onto Speedy. Great chemistry there between the mid and jungle.
Bro just could not care less out the tower, just walking in there, getting off a nice stun and setting up Ochita. That's what we were talking about in the draft, and that's exactly what they're doing. And now they're just hanging around over in this mid lane, possibly even looking to get Tomolomi and push into this tower as Rory picking up the left-hand side mid cams.
And again, we're seeing Direwolves really start to strangle out Avant. Avant, though, responded pretty nicely there. They got themselves a couple of kills on various parts of the map, showing they're not out of this fight yet.
They may not be out of this fight, but the graphs tell a very different tale. It's already starting to slink down and down into the red. 6,000 experience, 3,000 gold. And currently, I haven't seen it. There's only one slight little jump where they've been able to get a kill, but it's still 5-9, 10 minutes in.
Oh, Zays forced to dash away. The axe from Mingyu catches him out. Purification beads come out from Zays, but it's way too late. The damage from Mingyu and Max are enough to completely decimate Zays. And this tier 1 tower on the left-hand side is looking very vulnerable. However, Direwolves have got bigger things in mind. They're thinking of the Gold Fury.
Yes, and now that they have forced, actually, it looks like that Vanguard are under pressure in the mid lane as well. They're just going straight for this Gold Fury. Mingyu already finishing off the stacks from the Transcendence, but instead of doing Gold Fury, they're now actually going straight for Ivan as Tomolomi is actually very, very low and just Speedy, hanging around with only 50% mana.
That's what they wanted. They wanted to force the belly flop out of Tomolomi because that's the one thing that can really disrupt them on this Gold Fury other than maybe a Kraken. And now, Dire was free reign over this Gold Fury. Maxon going to be able to zone out Speedy.
Yeah, and Speedy, he can't do much at all. Maxon just using that passive, and he already has a Mark of the Vanguard, possibly even going straight into a Golem of Thieves, but Rob Diggity, he's going to get another Ragnarok this time, though, onto Maxon.
Yeah, Maxon, most deaths on his team tied with Mingyu, though, but Maxon playing very, very aggressively in the support role. Being a support, he's probably a little bit further behind than he usually would be at this stage of the game, so probably overestimating his abilities a little bit much.
Well, now he does have that Shield of Regrowth, I should say, combined with the Talaria boots. This means Amaterasu, not compared to last game, we saw a bit of a speed boost coming out from El Chuckles, but now with the Talaria boots as well, that just means Armor is just completely zooming around the map, and I'm not sure if actually Ivan can deal with this much move speed, even with the Poseidon Cripple.
I like the Mark of the Vanguard pickup as well because it reduces all damage taken by 5. So every tick of the Poseidon Whirlpool is going to be decreased by 5. And if you look at Avant's team comp, a lot of their damage is kind of tick damage or damage over time as well, like things like the Fenrir Brutalize is multiple ticks of it. You've got the autos from Izanami as well. So a smart pickup there by Maxon in the support role.
Not only that, you also have to mention the Barkus Belch as well. Barkus usually quite a damaging Guardian, but with that Belch being reduced by 5 every time, and he's only built a Talaria boots this game instead of usually going into one of those pen boots. Tomolomi not going to be doing as much damage onto Max, and that's exactly what Maxon wants. He wants to be able to die completely freely without a care in the world. Over on solo side, El Kiro getting chased by 3 members.
Exactly, just completely forced out. Direwolves, it seems like they're everywhere, all over the map whenever they want to be. I do like this response here from Avantgarde. They're looking to evade the red buff on the left-hand side, but they just don't quite have the timing on it. And that's another thing Direwolves do so excellently. They know when they can invade the one side of the map because the timers on their other side are down. So they really have kind of this almost very structured flow to their game. Final judgment from Ochita hits El Kiro, takes down the solo lane. Intoxicate comes through from Tomolomu. Ro gonna burn his Purification. Ragnarok might be coming out from Rob Diggity. He does get it. Ro taking a lot of damage. Kraken from Speedy is on the mark. The tower shots as well, enough to pick up Ro, but Mingyu dealing out the damage with the in-hands. Tomolomu flops away. 1-for-1 trade between the teams.
Yeah, it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, but it's going to be soon a tower trade as well, as 3 members is going straight for the tower. Zay's trying to box out against Maxon. Mingyu applying the damage to Kiki with a nice boulder over the wall.
And now they get the tier 1 tower in mid. They might even be able to get the tier 2 tower in the mid lane as well. It doesn't look like Avant are going to be able to mount any real effective resistance.
No, and now that Mingyu already has the Ninja Tarbai as well as that 2 to allow him to get an extra bit of damage and attack speed, he is just going to be running away. They've done exactly what they wanted. 7 and 13, 14 minutes in. Grass 11,000 XP and 8,000 gold.
Huge lead at the moment for the Direwolves, especially in the experience catalog.
Yeah, and currently Avada keeps saying this, they just don't have a response. They've tried things with Rob Diggity using the Ragnarok, but when Fenrir falls behind, he really just becomes that ultimate bot. He doesn't really do much else other than pick people up with the Ragnarok, and that's slowly losing its potency as well, as it looks like just Speedy kind of falling behind, even though he does have a Book of Thoth online.
Yeah, if we're looking at damage, not much to be positive about there for Avantgarde, except for Zaze and Speedy. They're doing decent amount of damage, but there's just too much health, too much tankiness on the side of Direwolves.
Well, not only that, on their side as well, Mingyu's just been doing a beautiful job hitting every single ability on Ul. And if you've played against it Ul, you will know those abilities hit like an absolute truck, especially now that he also has the RZ finished up. He's already level 15 before the 15-minute mark. He's beaten in the clock in levels.
Alrighty, we can see the Portal Demon is up. No one really looking to take that one at this stage, although I suspect Direwolves, once they get a few more waves pushed up, might look to go for that one. You can see that's kind of where they want their attention to be. That's where Ro and Cheetah are. But what they're doing, which other teams didn't do last game, is they're still pushing up the other waves as well. Mingyu looking to take the 1v1 with Zaze, stuns him out, gets a few basic attacks down, hits the bladed arrow as well. One more basic attack will do it. Mingyu gets his revenge onto Zaze, solos him down.
In the mid lane though, a nice Kraken is not enough though to finish off Max, and just Speedy falls to Ro.
And Direwolves really having their way in the team fight. Ragnarok forced by Rob Diggity, final judgment. He jumps over the top, but Mingyu gets it with a hail of arrows. Mingyu 2 kills thus far in this little engagement. 3 members of Avant down, and now look at the Direwolves, straight for the Portal Demon and straight for the Fire Giant.
One of the great things about Ul is usually you don't see the Hunter actually pick out the Pearl Buff because usually they're playing at range. But Mingyu, especially this game, has been playing very close to the target he's fighting, especially when he's in that axe form. Meaning he's not only doing everything else with his RC, his shins, which possible shins is going to be built, but he's also reducing their protections without even having to worry.
Exactly right. Fire Giant is started up here by the Direwolves. Frenzied Ritual popped as well. Cheetah uses the Portal Demon to get himself back into this fight, or where it's not even a fight, it's just a straight objective take. Fire Giant falls away of the Direwolves.
And now they're going straight for the tier 2. The only man there, Elkiro, getting driving strike as well as the axe to the face.
Elkiro, no chance at all there. Avantgarde, nowhere near this tier 2 tower on the right-hand side. They are going to be able to take their own buffs, though, so it means they can have a little bit more power online when they decide to defend these Phoenixes.
If they can even get back in time, it looks like Dire was already able to take the tier 2 straight away, and they're making their way right to the Phoenix. Izanami is currently trying to split push on her own duo lane, but it's not going to be much when you lose already a Phoenix.
I don't like this call. I don't like this call from Avantgarde. If they lose a Phoenix here, they could potentially lose the game if Direwolves are healthy enough. However, if they do manage to take these towers, it is a boon for them in terms of golden experience, but it depends on what they're trading instead. Tier 1 towers are not worth a Phoenix.
Not just one Phoenix, this is going to most likely be 2 Phoenixes. I know Cheetah actually getting
Speedy.
a kill on Speedy.
Speedy decimated there by the final judgment. Elkiro knocked up by Kiki. 2 Phoenixes fall the way of Direwolves, and now they're going to back and look to stop Avantgarde from taking their tier 2 towers. With their fire minions pouring into the base, they could take as much time as they want.
Just to show how far ahead Direwolves currently are, Cheetah has built a 3rd item, Spear of Desolation. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Huge lead at the moment for the Direwolves. Looks like Zaze should be able to get this tier 2 tower on the left-hand side. Might pay for it with his life, but probably not going to worry about it. Excellent stun through the wall there from Cheetah. Zaze, no chance. Jumps through the wall. Dark portals to silence, but one or two more in-hands will do it. Cheetah gets the kill onto Zaze. Direwolves, they lose 3 towers there. Not a bad trade for 2 Phoenixes, though.
2 Phoenixes, as well as, I believe, 3 kills over that span as well. They're just getting further and further ahead. They still have Fire Giant buff for quite a little while longer, and they've already basically dealt into that 5th items only 18 minutes in. Avant, they're going to have to mount a miracle defense to stop LG Direwolves just pushing straight into the base and finishing off the game.
They need everyone on Direwolves to use all of their relics, for whatever reason, and then all stand in a very tight group, and then Kraken them, and then hit them with Dark Portal, and then intoxicate them, and just everything. They need to hit them with everything all at once somehow. And that's the only way they're going to be able to kill them.
And there's no way they can possibly do that with the fact of how speedy Direwolves is just with Armor Tarasu alone, and everyone else has some form of mobility to get them around. And they just don't have the damage. They only just finished the Obsidian Shard on Poseidon. Fenrir not really applying that much damage. He's been completely left in the dust, only 5,000 damage this game. And Direwolves pushing down that final side, taking the tier 1 without even a blink of the eye.
They should be able to get the tier 2 for free here. Doesn't even look like Avantgarde want to contest. Tier 2 tower going to fall, and then it looks like Direwolves going to push onto the left-hand side Phoenix.
Yes, and really, what could Avant? All they can do is they got one final Phoenix to defend. 5 minutes pushing in right now from the solo side. Midway will be there in a couple of minutes as Tomalomu gets stunned out.
Tomalomu knocked back. Tomalomu taken down as Mingyu gets the kill. Frenzied Ritual pop. Final Judgment through. Ro picks up Zaze. 2 members down. A lot of the damage for Avant. If Speedy falls, it's going to be pretty much all the damage. And it is down. El Kuro knocked back. Frenzied Ritual was used by Avant-Garde as well, but there's no damage to come through. Ro with the double kill. Left-hand side Phoenix is going to fall. And then it's going to be the Titan. And that should be game number 1 for the Diables.
Such a dominating performance, and with a sub in place of their support. This is without Richard Castle. Just to think about why Richard Castle's here today would be a massive lead. And going into the second game, Avant-Garde have to really rethink their strategy, or they just need to knuckle down, because currently they are put in a very disastrous situation.
Exactly right. Great performances across the board from the Diables, and really no effective resistance from Avant-Garde there. So excellent game from the Diables. Avant-Garde a lot left to improve in our next game. And so we're going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back with game number 2 between the Diables and Avant-Garde. Alrighty, guys. Thank you very much for your patience there. We are back with our last game of the night. Direwolves taking on Avantgarde. Direwolves took out the first game in pretty convincing fashion.
Yeah, and Avantgarde, they literally stood helpless as Direwolves literally just went through their entire jungle in one massive blitzkrieg. And Avant, they really need to find some sort of way to come back or fight aggression with aggression, because otherwise Direwolves are going to run right through them for the second game.
Ratatoska first ban for Direwolves. Thoth first ban for Avantgarde. Obviously, they did not like what Achita did to them in that last game.
And Direwolves banning away the Khepri. They don't want Avantgarde to have any sort of revives. If they die, they are dying.
Exactly right. I mean, we didn't see Khepri played in that last game, but we did see it in the set before, played by Daddy Daycare and Legacy Esports. Zeus taken away by Avantgarde. This leaves open Thanatos, though, and Cabrakan for the Direwolves to pick whichever one they want first.
Yeah, and they have a lot of options. They could even go for some sort of ADC. And of course, they picked the Thanatos very first pick. I think we should note for this game, Maxim will be playing in the jungle this game. So this is actually going to Maxim this game. And Roy is now actually playing in the support role. So Thanatos already off the bat. However, Avant, trying that tried and true formula from last game, going to Poseidon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the Poseidon pick, and we saw that Daddy Daycare were able to play it very effectively, and honestly, it can really take a lot of picks away from the Direwolves, and it actually slows down this Cabrakan quite effectively as long as you have a Gem of Isolation online. It prevents any Cabrakan from coming up and really dealing a lot of damage to you by slowing him down when he tries to just run at you and face tank you and blow you up with two abilities, which is what Cabrakan does. So Cabrakan is still a possibility for the Direwolves. We've seen it played in the solo lane. We see Cabrakan picked up now. So a good thinking here from Avantgarde. Whether it will be executed correctly is another question.
So with Cabrakan picked up, and there's Hercules, which one's going support? Thanatos is obviously going jungle. That's pretty obvious. If you put him anywhere else, you're basically wasting your time.
I've seen Maxon play both in support, and I've seen Kiki play both in solo. So I think it's a flex pick until they see what the rest of Avant's composition is.
Kumbhakana is surprisingly an interesting pick, but they can actually work this game. The fact that Kumba has that Mez means that basically he can just Mez both the Thanatos and the Cabrakan, leave them there and just walk away. The only problem is using this Kumbhakana is if the Poseidon decides to follow up using that Whirlpool, those ticks will instantly get them back up again.
I love the Kumba pick here, actually. It's really effective against Cabrakan because, again, like the Poseidon Whirlpool that slows him down, Kumba can just mesmerize him, and then Cabrakan can't do anything when he decides to chase after your squishies. All banned away by Avantgarde. They've taken away two of the picks from last game with their 3 bans. Odin taken away by the Direwolves.
Yeah, now there's still quite a few bans option. Unheard the next ban. Avantgarde really prioritizing Mingyu and Ochita. Last game, both of them did a really nice job securing kills, especially Mingyu, getting really nice early on solo kills. And now it's up to the final ban, which is going to be a tier.
So Direwolves taken away from Elcuro's Godpool. Avantgarde taking away from Mingyu and Ochitas, but really focusing Mingyu out more here at the end. Saket picked up by Avantgarde with not a whole lot of squishy targets on the Direwolves so far, and no healing coming through. What are the reasons behind getting this Saket? What makes it worthy of this pick?
There's another issue as well. Thanatos is probably the most aggressive guy in the early game. So Kate is going to take a while to get online. So if Thanatos goes solo, if he goes mid, he is going to have a lot of pressure. And if there's a god also, speaking of Direwolves, Yanis, a god that has literally won lands for them thanks to Ochita's plays.
Yanis and Ram picked up here. So looking at Direwolves' team composition, you might think at first, okay, this Cabrakan is really good setup, but it's like, what is it set up for necessarily? The Janus, while when you get towards the later stages of the game, is going to do a whole lot of bursts, he doesn't have a huge, big area of effect ultimate that he can really utilize off the back of Cabrakan. What he's aiming to do, however, is chunk targets low enough for this Thanatos execute to be effective.
Well, not only that, you have the Cabrakan Hercules combo. You've got the tiny ringed area. You throw the Hercules boulder, bounce it around. You got the Thanatos execute. You have Ram snipes to keep them in place. Only 2 members can actually get out of that wall area, which being Soket and Izanami. Kumba, Vermine, and Poseidon are all going to be trapped within the walls, and unless they can auto-attack fast enough, they're going to be stuck taking a lot of damage.
The Vermont pickup, we saw Zachariah play pretty effectively in the Daycare v Legacy matchup, and it's something, again, Elcuro is comfortable with. So, Avantgarde, keeping their players on stuff that they're comfortable with.
However, they do need to be careful early on Avantgarde in the solo lane. That Thanatos is going to be looking for blood. He actually opted to pick up the Dev's Toll to get a little extra bit of sustain instead of going for the Bluestone Pendant, which may allow you to get just that tiny bit more damage.
Alrighty, looking at both teams, both mid laners have gone the Bombers into Sands of Time start here. So why would a mid laner go to start, Lynx?
Well, this start just not only the Sands of Time has basically become the staple for the mid laners. The Boomer's Mask is when you start asking questions, because the Boomer's Mask, what it allows you to do is basically if you get the last hits, you're going to be getting a lot of extra gold, not to mention gives you a bit more sustain since you don't have any sort of lifesteal item like a tiny trinket or the Vampiric Shroud.
Look at what Rob Diggity's doing here. He's waiting around the speed buff. He hasn't walked over any wards thus far. So what he's going to do is he's going to keep his solo lane, his mid laner to fend for themselves here, but he's going to try and steal away the speed buff. And if you take that away from the Thanatos, he's not going to be able to rotate as effectively, not as going to be able to get as much farm, not going to be able to have as much impact in the early game as he normally does.
Not to mention, Avant basically already have to kind of concede that lane to the Thanatos, so if you're going to concede, you may as well find an advantage somewhere else. So Rob Diggity actually able to find a nice little advantage, which what actually happened last game where Diables invaded the same speed buff last time on the Chaos side.
All right, he's going to be able to get the speed buff. Now he's looking for the blue buff. Diabol's taking the early camps here, and then they're going to be able to take these ones pretty cleanly. Kiki, I think, has spotted out Rob doing this blue buff, so Rob's in a little bit of trouble here. He hopefully is taking his ambush here second. Rob trying to get the blue. He dashes to... Rob, what are you doing? Rob didn't...
Rob disappears there.
Rob didn't jump.
Let's look at... Yeah, well, the thing is, he didn't use the ambush. He tried. That was an extremely greedy play, is what that was. And now Avant, they're actually looking to save their own void camp as Mingyu and Rogue invading with the Kabrakan Tremors. Tomalomu extremely low.
Tomalu down in his passive. Could be an easy kill here for the Dials, but I'm still in shock, Lynx. I'm still in shock that Rob didn't jump out there, and then he tried to dash forward to secure the blue, but he still didn't get it, and Kiki picked up his own blue.
Kiki is now level 4. And also, while this is going on as well, Max and Rochita doing the exact same thing to Rob, except with 2 people this time, and Rob just kind of watching on as this buff disappears.
He jumped in, does manage to dash away, to get back to his tower. Fed Hercules is not a good sign, especially for a Soket, who's not going to be doing a terribly large amount of damage to him anyway, and if she's being focused in these team fights by Kiki, she's in for a very rough time, to say the least. Speedy ported in the mid lane, Maxim with the Soul Reap, doesn't manage to get the final pick of damage.
That is perfectly fine. You're still denying Poseidon a lot of time that he could have had in lane to get his boots, and now Ochita and Maxon already with a 1-level lead, going to push that possibly to a 2-level lead. And once Ochita gets that 3 space of time, Maxon with the semi-global ultimate can literally be anywhere on the map as they so please.
I'm really looking forward to see Maxon back in the jungle and on something that is very, very aggressive, which is his playstyle to a T. And he's going to be looking to get a lot of these kills with his execute and deal so much damage with that Death Scythe.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm expecting Maxim to just go really aggressive. Diables this game as well as starting with this game. They've just gone very aggressive, and it's worked out very well for them. Avant still in this game haven't really been able to find an answer, and still they try that cheeky strat, but then Rob Diggity fed away more experience, which some may say is actually a worse maneuver than actually not being aggressive at all. They're really stuck in what to do.
Exactly right there. That's a really bad way to start a game, both in terms of the game itself and also its mental aspect as well. You know, giving up the first blood and then giving up a kill a little bit later in the duo lane, getting all, you know, unsuccessfully invading buffs and then having your own buffs invaded, putting yourself at such a disadvantage, but then also mentally just thinking about that has got to be really rough, and Avant need to get themselves back to this one. Maxon ulting from the Gold Fury pit, looking for Zaze, crashes down, gets the stun, Death Scythe comes through, doesn't catch the dash. Zaze, Dark Portal, there's nowhere for him to run, however, no health, no mana, he's about to fall down. Archers will finish him off if the guys can't do it. Maxon gets the last hit, and down falls the ADC of Avant-Garde.
And that is exactly what you want to be seeing, especially in mid. They just actually had to secure the Oracle Hub, so they had the ward vision. Bro, actually getting Mez down in the mid lane, but just Speedy now caught in the walls.
There's a crack, and Maxon, though, still gets the kill with the Death Scythe. Snipes come through from Mingyu. All of them land there. Tomalomu needs to run away from Maxon here. Death Scythe will probably be enough to secure the kill. It is Maxon with a double. He's already 3-0.
Not to mention, Tomalomu, he's still only level 3, 4 minutes in. It's a 3-level difference between the lowest level and the highest level. 4 minutes in, it's been 5 kills. It's been more than a kill a minute. And now Kiko and me are looking to possibly find something on Tail Cairo as he pops the big baby form.
Yeah, big baby form popped. He is healing up, but what LGDW are doing is they're keeping him low enough that even if he's healing up, he's not healing up to enough health to be secure in his escape. Portal from Ochita doesn't get the Unstable Vortex. Good knock up from El Kiro. Kiki doesn't land his own knock up. Driving Strike should be enough to finish him. Driving Strike and one basic attack will be what to do it. Kiki between the towers now. Ro looking to help his solo lane out here by farming the wave, but Rob jumps over the wall. He jumps this time, gets the ult onto Kiki Amio, taunts him in as well. A basic will do it. Rob gets a return onto Kiki.
But over in the mid lane, Maxon looking for just Speedy, planning his attack very carefully and easily able to find the kill in the mid lane. Even when they lose a kill, they still are able to get another one in a different lane as Maxon rooted out.
This is brutal for Avantgarde. Just struggling at this point. Ro gets a wall off, but purification beads come out from Rob Diggity to get himself to safety, but this is brutal. They're just getting slaughtered. This is kind of what we used to see in Oceania a lot, which is a lot of kills for one team and not a whole lot on the other. And Divals, you know, they're getting all of these kills, and that's what their composition is designed to do. Their last composition was designed to take farm away. This composition is designed to get kills and then take the farm away.
Over in the duo lane, actually, Zay's very, very luckily escaped the snipes from Mingyu, but Mingyu now has a free lane to himself. The Yanis also over there to help him out a bit if he wants to push down the tier 2. Oh, sorry, the tier 1.
They're going to back over because they know that Speedy is in the area with a Kraken. Achita just gets through the wall there before the cripple can affect him. Unstable Vortex to secure the left-hand side Harpies. Looking at the graphs, 3,600 experience difference, 2,300 gold difference in favor of the Divals.
Having a look at net worth as well, the only person below Avantgarde in net worth is Ro, and even Ro himself, he's currently level 6 compared to level 5 on the Kumba Khan. Everyone else far ahead. Maxon top of the play damage charts, followed only by Kiki and Mio. Divals again just taking complete control of this game, and the only saving grace right now, Rob Diggity, securing away those Oracle Harpies.
Yeah, it's a little bit of return farm, and importantly for Avant, though, it's vision on that Gold Fury pit, because that is a very viable objective for Divals to take at this stage in the game.
It's not even just that objective, it's the idea of the fact that Thanatos, as we saw earlier, can literally just lift off from that area and come straight down to Zaze. And since Zaze, all he has is a single purification, and if he gets caught out, that's goodbye. And even if he does use the purification, he's still going to get landed on, and Mingyu is going to follow up with that cripple.
Alrighty, nearly 7 minutes in. Ochita ults through, hits just Speedy, in fact. Maxon hits the Soul Reap onto the Poseidon as well, knocked up by Tomolomu. Kraken comes through. Maxon taking a lot of damage, but a good Death Scythe will heal him up. Up into the ultimate he goes, looking for an execute, not going to find it. Just going to stun out Tomolomu instead. Ro chasing down the support player, but not going to find the kill.
Sadly not able to find the kill, but Tom is still extremely low. And again, over in the dual lane, another set of ults coming out from Mingyu, trying to line up the last shot,
Oh,
but Zaze, the second
Mingyu.
time getting away.
Oh, Mingyu. This is a repeat of LAN.
Pretty sure.
This is a repeat of LAN. At regionals, he missed some ultimates onto Maxon, who was at like 1 HP. If he even landed one of them, he would have got the kill. And thus is the case here. Oh, he's cursed. He's cursed with this RAM. He's cursed.
So what we're saying, he's the reverse Marvels is what we're saying, right?
Well, I mean, ordinarily he'll hit these shots. Like he's a really mechanically skilled player. Right-hand side, El Kuro getting chased down by Maxon and Kikimiru. That Death Scythe that hit, that might have been curtains for El Kuro, but he does manage to walk away in the big baby form. But, you know, Mingyu's a very mechanically skilled player, and, you know, 99% of the time he'll hit these shots, but it just seems in games where it matters that's where he comes apart a little bit.
I feel like that ult play though, we can't dismiss that. Like, he was hitting every ability on that ult, and that's all that really matters. On RAM, it's all about the auto attacks anyway. If you miss snipes, it's not going to kill you, especially when you already have an 8-1 lead, as Rob Diggity gets pushed right back into the wall.
Oh, here's Maxon as well. One Death Slash should do it. Doesn't land though. Rob jukes back towards Kiki. Speedy's here as well though. Gets silenced out by Maxon. Maxon having a tremendous game thus far. If we look at the player damage, second only to Kiki Amio.
Over in the duo lane as well, Zaze is coming from behind, putting a nice little bit of damage into Zaze, as now the invade comes out onto speed buff.
Oh, Rob, he ults Maxon to just try and give himself a little breathing room. Maxon does get the kill. He won't be healing up from that Death Scythe until that poison tick wears off, which it has now. Speedy with a good whirlpool there. Ro walls in Tomolomu, but Tomolomu knocks him up. Great pullback there by Kiki Amiya. Kiki actually got portaled through by Ochita's ultimate, and that's going to save the life of Tomolomu for now. Dark Portal comes through. Tom still alive. Kiki driving strike to try and find the kill, but a meditation will save Tomolomu. El Kuro gets Ochita. Zaze gets Kiki, but 2 kills come back through for the Dials. Mingyu lands his ultimates that time, and Ro gets a kill for himself.
And now with Zaze and El Kuro on the chase, Mingyu doing a nice job to just juke their way out, actually popping the purification just to be on the safe side in case the slow comes out for Izanami. And Mingyu can easily be out home free, as now he can actually look to also beat that, as Maxon going 3 against 1 and surviving just that little bit longer, but Zaze picking up the kill.
And Maxon there went for the greed play. Didn't get it, but excellent game from him thus far. 6-1.
6-1, already got a Shield of Regrowth online as well. That's a real important item for Thanatos now. It just means he's going to be going even faster if he's able to get the heal the 2, as well as if someone is below the HP threshold for Thanatos passive. It just means he will be around the map even more, and they have the Yanis mobility still to come. So keep an eye out on Max, and he's just going to be going harder and harder into these team fights.
That was also so unfortunate for Kiki and Mio in that last fight. Accidentally portaled by a cheetah through to their Phoenix pit, so he couldn't get around to contribute to the team fight. Dropped the kill onto Tomolomo, and then when he dived tower, he'd taken so much damage already. There was no chance for him to survive.
Yeah, and sadly, that does happen. We've seen even pros themselves have, like North American pros, have to deal with the horrors that is Yanis ultimate. Sometimes you just go through the portal accident. I think the best example though is when Swifty went doubly through those portals.
Oh, yeah.
That was still a beautiful clip I watch every so
Portaled
often.
into a portal. Ended up exactly back where he was. Kiro looking at back here, but Maxon and Kiki are in the area. Kiki doesn't land the knock-up or the driving strike. Maxon does get knocked up by Alkiro. They're not looking to chase too hard, though. Avant might be looking to collapse here. Rob Diggity ults Kiki Mio, so no healing coming through from the Hercules boulder onto Rob. Rob is crushed. The Circuit falls under the Hercules boulder. Ochita trying to portal through, but Tomolomo picks up the kill. Maxon's got himself a double, however, looking for the triple onto Tomolomo, but Tomo going to be able to walk away through his minions. Mingyu gets the solo kill back to Zaze.
Literally every time I turn over to the duo lane, I just see Mingyu always getting Zaze at very low health in snipe. He's just constantly had the lead over this lane, and now he's just able to pop the pick me up and go straight for the tower. Maxon getting the unofficial triple kill.
9 kills.
There. 9
He's
kills.
got 9 kills already.
Welcome to Thanatos, ladies and gentlemen. One of the strongest. There's a reason why you banned Thanatos, and I think they've learned a lesson today. A very, very valuable lesson.
Maxon has more kills than the entirety of Vanguard combined.
What do you really say to that? Like, that's the thing. Like, how? What do you say? Like, yep, that's basically true.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. Yep, that's a fact. As bro
Facts.
getting a nice bit of damage onto Elkira. He's actually built into tank boots. No tank. He's built, sorry, into Shoes the Magi. No tank boots. No Talaria boots. No Ro. He's just playing jungle Kubrakin from the duo lane.
His only tank item thus far is Mark of the Vanguard. He's got tier 1 talisman, yes, but I'm not really counting that until it's a completed item. Maxon actually gets silenced out of his own silence. Rob Diggity chunked down. Maxon going up, looking for the execute onto the Circuit. She dashes forward. Is he gonna get the distance? He does. Kraken comes through for Speedy, but Maxon speed buffs himself away. Good amount of damage to heal himself. Shield of Regrowth doing wonders for Maxon, but Zaze flanking around the side here, trying to get the slow. Doesn't land. Beautiful portal from a cheetah there. Absolutely wonderful. Poetry in motion.
And not only that, they also got the tier 1, and now it looks like they're going straight for this gold here, and Mingyu and Ochita starting that up. The only person remotely nearby would be Elkiro, but Elkiro is actually going back to the solo lane, and now Tomolomo may be the only one coming into the area as he's spotted by the many, many wards of Dire Wolves.
Yeah, and Direwolves, they don't want to risk a throw on this Gold Fury, or they don't want to risk it being stolen away. They just want to play relatively safe and secure, but, you know, not full resetting, not full hard resetting. Here, what they do instead is they go in, they push their waves, they look for their buffs, they look for minion camps, take those, and then they can turn their sights back to Gold Fury.
And what can Avant really do to stop them? The only real ultimate that can stop them is either Kumba ultimate, Kraken, or possibly even Last Breath. But the problem is Last Breath right now isn't really doing that much damage, so Ket is that mid to late game god. And Maxon is just taking complete full advantage of that, as now Dire was a 4-man taking away this gold fury thanks to the Tremors just adding a nice additional bit of surplus.
Yeah, Oracle Harpies are here as well. Whirlpool comes through from Speedy, doesn't manage to steal anything away there. Harpies and the Gold Fury fall the way of Direwolves. Kiki, ganked by Rob Diggity and Elkiro, falls in the solo lane, but a solo laner for a Gold Fury, that's worth every time. 7,300 experience, 5,400 gold is the advantage for the Direwolves.
And even though Herc has died 4 times this game, he's still been able to get 4 assists and 2 kills. Avant, though, they're actually trying to get their way back into this game. They haven't given up a nice amount of determination as they're going straight for this Paul Demon and using that Dark Paul to ensure that they get above Max and Ochita. They have actually Ochita picked up the speed buff and is looking for some kills.
So I like that Portal Demon. It takes it away from the Direwolves, which is important. It also gives their whole team a little bit of golden experience, so a nice little bit of change in their pocket.
However, Dire Wolves, they still have advantage over most of the map as Mingyu is actually now pushing into the tier 2. Zaze going to teleport under the wall as an attempt to basically keep off the minions. But Mingyu has a 2-level lead as well as a full minion wave onto tower.
Mingyu should be able to get a good bit of poke down onto this tower while the rest of his team keeps the rest of Avant away. Right-hand side, Kiki being ganked again, but Kiki gets out of the way. Portal comes through from Ochita, lands onto El Kiro, walls from Ro. They don't trap anyone in. Does manage to get a stun down or a lot of damage anyway onto Speedy. There's a nice Portal and Boulder combo. Cheetah picks up the kill with a unstable Vortex. Left-hand side, Maxa comes crashing down into Zaze. Mingyu gets some Stice off as well, but it's not enough to pick up the kill onto Zaze. They should be able to pressure down this left-hand side tower as the tier 1 on the right-hand side falls. Dials pressure all over the map.
Yeah, and all Rob Diddy can really do is currently going for speed buff. Tomolomi actually now extremely low. Mingyu lifestealing finally gets Kumakana into his passive form. Maxon trying to find an avenue, but Zaze is making it not the easiest opportunity, but Mingyu finishes off the Kumba.
Domination, short word term for it here, as Rob Diggity picks up a kill onto Mingyu. A nice little bit of return kill for them there. Maxon picks up his 11th kill of the game. Rob Diggity ulted a minion there. Didn't manage to land it onto Maxon.
Yeah, you can't catch Maxon right now. He's got that too, and he's actually got the heal ready to go whenever. El Kiro looking for a possible gank onto Maxon. And Maxon, he's just gonna go fly right into the sky, as Ro is now dishing out the damage with his 2 as well as the tremors.
Yeah, Ro just basically keeping the rest of Avant-Garde away from his jungler. And, you know, that's something that Direwolves do very well usually for him. He's not used to being the one doing it for his team.
I'm going to say this again. Ochita has built 3rd item, Spear of Desolation. Need I say more? Need I say more?
That's 2 games in a row he's done that, hasn't he?
Yes, the last game he did it as well. And just to give context, just in case anyone doesn't understand, Spear of Desolation is quite literally the most expensive item in the game.
No, they've changed it.
They changed? They changed
It's 2,800 gold now. You get 80 power, 20 pen, 10% cooldown reduction, and if you get a kill or assist of the enemy, all of your cooldowns are reduced by 1. So it's not just a kill anymore, it's a kill or assist. So in concert with Chronos Pendant, which he's also picked up, which every 10 seconds, 1 second is removed on all your cooldowns, as well as getting 20% cooldown reduction, he's going to be able to portal, he's going to be an unstable vortex, and he's going to be able to through space and time very, very fast.
Over in the duo lane, Mingyu trying to battle out against 3, goes into the sky and lands some snipes onto Just Speedy.
Right-hand side tier 2 tower is the focus. Speedy and Mingyu and Tomolamu all combine to take down Mingyu. Right-hand side tier 2, focused by Avant, by Direwolves here, I should say. Maxa went up to the sky looking for a kill. Ochita, 1v3, picks up the kill onto Just Speedy.
And now they just keep going onwards as Ochita now running away from Zaze, using the 3 space and time to go across the map. Tier 2 falls on the solo lane side. Ro, Kiko, and Max and the trio are still pushing up this side. And Ochita, even though he has such...
I love that play. He ulted through to the mid lane and still managed to push up a tower. You know, usually you see your mid laner there just ult to the side or ult back to tower. He recognizes he needs to get out of that situation, but he also recognizes he can still benefit his team with his ultimate. It's fantastic play.
Ochita is definitely is most certainly the most mechanically skilled player in the game. Well, not the game, sorry, but in definitely OCE. He just knows exactly, especially when playing on Yanis. Yanis is one of his most tried and true gods. He is not going to make mistakes. In this game, he's been playing absolutely perfectly, doing a great job for his team, supplementing Maxon in his absolute killing spree. Next possible objective is most likely going to be Fire Giant, or it looks possibly to be Zaze as Maxon blinks in.
Maxon looking for the kill. Maxon should be able to find it, or Mingyu might take it. Dark Portal from Zaze there, can't stop the orders from Mingyu. Mingyu gets his 4th kill of the game, and I think probably 3 of them have been onto Zaze.
He just has not had any luck in this game, even on the Izanami. When you go up against a duo lane on Izanami, it usually is a lot harder. When put behind like that, it makes it even harder. Just Speedy popping the Kraken.
Right, beautiful Aegis there from Ro and Ochita. Ochita actually used his Purification there to get ahead and find Speedy. Gets him with the Unstable Vortex. He's ulted by Tomolomu, but there's no follow-up damage. Boulder from Kiki hits 2 targets. Rob Diggity is low. Ro is as well. Knock up from Kiki. Doesn't get the driving strike. Meditation for Rob Diggity will keep himself alive. Tomolomu roots Ochita in place. Ochita nowhere to find the kill.
And Maxon still chasing El Kiro right by the solo lane Phoenix area. He's now just providing a lot of pressure as now Ochita and Kikume rotating back around. They could actually look to just get the Portal Demon or even start the Fire Giant. And there's very little Ivana currently can do as they're still being kept behind. 23-9 is the scoreboard, and the graph tells a very sad tale indeed.
Mingyu solos the Gold Fury there. Portal Demon was started up by the rest of his squad, but they're just looking to bait in to try and find more kills here. Tomolomu gets the Mesmerize down onto Kiki. Portal Demon started up by Ochita. Max are going to be the ones to tank this one now. Mingyu's rotated over as well, so this Portal Demon should be relatively free, barring any kind of steal from the side of Avant-Garde.
And now Ro doing a nice job keeping Tom Maloney completely out of the portal demon. Now finally secure Direwolf's backing. My guess they're probably even going to pick up a flickering ritual. Actually, it's not the flickering ritual, the frenzy ritual, and just go straight for the Spy Giant. Even if Ivan try to contest, Maxon's just going to turn tail and just kill them within seconds. And Direwolves, they've already made their way back through the portal again.
They're free to start up this Fire Giant, and you know, normally you don't start up when the other team has 5 members available, so I think Direwolves are looking more to bait a fight here than necessarily do it, but they popped a Frenzy. They're very confident in themselves being able to get this one. Ro wars off Rob Diggity, doesn't get as much damage down as he would like. El Kiro around the back, trying to find something here, maxing up into his ultimate. Tomalomu's knocked up, he's in execute, Goshal. Kiki knocks him out of the execute, however. There's the Kraken from Just Speedy. Mingyu, though, picks up a kill. Kiki picks up Zaze, and now Direwolves running rampant. Mingyu's got himself a double.
And that's exactly what I was talking about. And El Kiro still being chased by Maxon just for a little bit up to the 2-2, but now that it's only El Kiro, a lone Zamano level 16, versus members who are currently level 19 at the highest, there is nothing they can do to stop this Fire Giant 20 minutes in. And now
El Kiro stole it! Umbrella Rang! Stole it! My god. El Kiro stole that. Maxim was chasing him down the whole time, didn't do anything to him. Look at El Kiro, he's taunting in the middle of them. He knows he's got nowhere to survive here, but he just stole the Fire Giant.
That's the power of the Maximon, I believe. I think that's what they would call that, right?
Whoa, how did he steal that? I said some craziness.
They're just like, yep, we won this game.
I said some craziness.
I was like, okay.
In Oceania in my time. Never have I seen this amount of craziness in one game. Never have I seen the start that we saw from Rob Diggity. And never have I seen a Fire Giant still quite like that.
I feel like they're doing an amazing job to not just give in. They are trying their absolute hardest to come back into this game. And funny enough, they have a Fire Giant that they can try and do maybe something with a miracle of Maxon still holding around and Kikyo Mio running between 3 members. He doesn't even care there's 3 people there. He just walks by them, popping his heel.
No one on the side of Avant-Garde have got Fire Giant buff on them anymore. All they've done is deny it to the Direwolves, which, you know, don't get me wrong, it's still a big thing, but no benefit of that buff to Avant, so no real comeback mechanic for them here. Direwolves are free to pressure up as they please. Sprint popped by Ro, driving strike by Kiki onto Zaze. Drew space in time, and the unstable Vortex connects. Zaze, no chance to live there. Tomalomu taking some damage. Speedy walled in. Nice Aegis from him. Maxon lands the execute, but no one's in execute range. Mingyu picks up the kill instead. Mingyu taken pretty low here, and now he's gone up into the sides looking for Speedy, but he's just out of range. He lands onto Rob Diggity, who's now half health, and Maxon's chasing him out.
Maxon looking for some sort of chase, but Rob Diggity using the ambush to jump away. As the minions actually have spotted out, but the rest of Direwolves, they don't even care about Rob Diggity. They're actually going straight for the Phoenix. They're picking up from Ram, drain the Phoenix. El Kiro forced to go into big baby form.
Mingyu picks up the kill onto Speedy. El Kiro forced to run away. Left-hand side Phoenix looks to be pretty free here for the Direwolves.
31-9, 22 minutes in, and the kills keep on coming as Rob Diggity forced to ambush away. The second Phoenix now being looked at by Direwolves. Possibly they're rotating all around to the proper side. They actually have to get the tier 2 first, sorry, in the middle, and the only tower still remaining for Avanga. But once they take this, the Phoenix is free pickings if they really want to go in.
It looks like they might back here, buy up their final items. They probably have a lot of gold in hand after that last engagement. They do. Everyone roughly about 1,500 and above gold in hand. Cheetah's got 2,500. So everyone's going to want to buy their final items and then look for the final push.
Ram already having finished off his win team and backing out to get the tier 2 of his second crit item. Izanami hasn't even been able to finish off the Titan's Bane yet. Just look at the rest of the team. Ro got mostly defensive items other than that Shoes of the Magi at the beginning. Basically, Shield, Regrowth, Wingblade, and things like Pestilence. The Pestilence actually doing quite nicely against El Kiro, who's going to be trying to take HP 5. And we're looking at Maxon, who's already finished off a Titan's Bane and a Heartseeker, and finally building into what looks to be possibly the Transcendence.
It is going to be Transcendence. That's the only build path for the Transcendence.
Exactly.
So
I was like, wait a second.
He's not even worried about the stacks. He's not even worried about the stacks. It's just the pure damage and mana he gets from it. Rob Diggity needs to jump away, jumps, dashes as well. Maxon blinks forward, Death Sights, doesn't get the silence of Aegis Force from Rob. Rob keeps himself in place. One hit lands, the next 2 don't, so Rob somehow survives.
And Maxon also just using the hovering depth to get away. He is not going to give away a free kill to Ivan. They're still playing a little bit smart. They're not just going completely guns blazing just yet. And now, since Ro is here, they can look to finally mount this push as Ochita has been doing a nice job split pushing in the middle lane.
Yeah, this is what I love from Direwolves. They're looking to maximize their efficiency. they push up one lane with 4 of their members, and the other one pushes up the other one to make sure they have the most amount of camo damage they could get. Middle Phoenix is going to fall here, despite Avant more defending the right-hand side one, so a bit of a mistake there by Avant. Knocked up into the air is one. Tomolomu looking for Mingyu, but a meditation from Ro will keep his ADC alive. Tomolomu taking a lot of damage. Phoenix shots are coming through. Unstable Vortex lands to Tom, who uses his own meditation. Nice knock up there by Kiki. Tomolomu's going to fall. Kraken half health Mingyu, but it's not enough to kill anyone. Right-hand side, Phoenix is going to fall to Mingyu, Ro, and Maxon. Boulder comes through from Kiki. That's all the Phoenix is down. Ultimate from Rob Diggity onto Maxon. Rob might pay with his life. El Kiro bursts down Maxon. The Dials have taken all the Phoenix. They're going to back and reset, and then they're going to end this game.
They can now reset as 2 full waves of 5 minutes are actually about to pour right in from the mid lane as well as the duo lane. Portal Demon is available if they want to go pick that up and then get the final items, even just pick up a couple of rituals and teleport right back into place. Ochita actually opting to steal away the red buff just before he backs to really rub some soul in the wins or just get a bit of extra damage as Rogue still fighting in the solo left.
If they take down enough members here, they can just win. They're taking out Rob. El Kiro a bit vulnerable. He's actually crippled there, so he can't dash away. Kiki can land a knock up here. He's got shield regrowth, so he has the movement speed advantage. No driving strike, though, as El Kiro knocks him up.
Oh, Kiro is so close to dying there. And the thing is, this is a Vamana, pretty tanky target. He's got the Bulwark of Hope, he's got the Breastplate of Valor, and a Wingblade.
They're going for the end. Kiki just dashed through. Rallying Ritual coming through onto Kiki Amir now. Who's it going to be? It's Mingyu. The Kraken doesn't land, so that's a big ultimate down. Dials are looking to just sneak past. Well, not sneak past. They're looking to just blow past the Vanguard here for the victory. Good wall there by Ro. Mingyu and Kiki Amir are going to be able to free cast that. Through space and time comes through as well. This Titan has no shot at living. Dials take the clean to a settle. Not quite clean due to that Fire Giant steal.
That, as you mentioned, that second game was a lot of weird interactions happened there. But Dials, they should still be very much commended. That was basically the perfect game they could have had. 34-10. You couldn't really ask for a much better game other than if you didn't die once. But I feel like they were just getting a little bit cheeky towards the end, which is very understandable just because of how far ahead they actually were in that game.
Yeah, that's the term Clown Fiesta is appropriate there.
That is
so
literally the perfect term right there.
yeah, that's still a very good game there from the Diables. Probably just having a little bit of fun amongst themselves as well. Avant-Garde, a few different issues to sort out for themselves internally there. But that's going to do it for tonight, guys. Tomorrow we will be back at the same time with our remaining 2 games of the week. Believe it is going to be the Pretty Boys taking on the Direwolves and Team Noxide playing Daddy Daycare. So we'll see those ones tomorrow night. Same time, same channel. See you then.